Deception is a right. Truth is a privilege. Innocence is a luxury. Born of the United States 1928 raid on the degenerate coastal town of Innsmouth, Massachusetts, the covert agency known as Delta Green opposes the forces of darkness with honor but without glory. Delta Green agents slip through the system, manipulating the federal bureaucracy while pushing the darkness back for another day, but often at a shattering personal cost. This is a dirge for the end of the world, a Delta Green campaign of modern horror, conspiracy, and personal apocalypse. I am Eric, at Modern Recluse on Twitter, your handler for this terrifying tale. Due to mature themes of horror and violence explored in our tale, we encourage listener discretion. We are Vorpal Tales, and we play a wide assortment of games 7 days a week that fall into two categories: awesome adventures and terrifying tales. You can check the calendar on vorpaltales.com to stay up to date with all of our shows. Also, check out our Dream Publishing suite of tabletop RPGs and supplements on artdream.com, where you can get a physical or digital copy of awesome games like Delta Green. Remember to follow us on Twitch. Visit the website to find the link to join our Discord. We're on most major social media outlets, including YouTube, where you can catch up on previous episodes. So remember to follow, subscribe, and hit the bell to get all the updates. Vorpal Tales is also on Drive-Thru RPG, by the way. Check out some of our very own Vorpal Tales supplements that include characters, monsters, and scenarios made for many of the games that we play weekly. We want to thank Arc Dream Publishing for making awesome games like Delta Green for us to play and for providing support to their players. Also, a very special thanks to Astral Tabletop, the super deluxe burrito of online tabletop gaming. Special music credit shoutouts go through Dark Somnia Music, Least Everbound, and Repulsive Sound for the use of their excellent ambiance and music tracks, as well as our resident rockstar Tyler for the awesome theme music you heard during the reel. For more awesome tunes, check out Secret Press at .bandcamp.com and on YouTube, Instagram, and SoundCloud under Repulsive Sound. Also, very special thanks to @NateMid for always helping to design our super awesome character sheets for Astral. And last but not least, a warm thanks to our listeners and fans for tuning in. Our agents and friendlies are ready for another night at the opera. Players, tell our audience who you are, where they can find you online, and who you will be playing this evening. Beginning with Panda.
Hi there. As I've been introduced, I go by Panda. You can find me at Veppels on Twitter, and I will be playing Anemone Gilman, a lesser deep one who, for reasons I'm sure I'm going to discover soon, has been added to this motley crew in defense against whatever terrible peril this particular run of adventures is going to involve, and I'm very excited.
Thank you. Sean.
Hey there, I'm Sean at Space Lord PJs. Tonight I will be playing Joe Big Papa Flanagan, whose codename is Wet Bagel, I think now. So, yeah, computer scientist.
Perfect. Nailed it. Devin.
I'm Wet Bagel's wonderful hacking buddy who doesn't know a thing about hacking. Megan Spots, codename White Lady. You can find me online at Sorta Sullied.
And last but not least, Tyler.
I'm Tyler, Elder Checo's online, and I am playing Ancient Warlock this evening, the Reluctant Psychic.
We're down 2 this evening. Speedy recoveries to Ben, who ate way too many dumplings recently, and to Ambrose, of course. We'll be seeing them soon enough. For right now, though, let's go into a short recap of the previous events. Thank you to Key for the recap. The cell begins cleaning up the scene, gaining a copy of the security footage and wiping the original copy, while Agent Warlock prepares to intercept the local law enforcement claiming that this is a matter for Homeland Security, and Agent White takes care of the muscle car left behind by the assailants. As far as anyone knows, what happened here was a money laundering scheme, nothing more and nothing less. It was at this time that Winnebago had a lapse in personality due to his redacted. The cell returns to the office, and Agent Wild and Agent Warlock began setting up a series of mirrors and elder signs to protect the office from esoteric intrusion. As the rest of the cell debriefs, going over the intel they gained, Agent White calls for Agent Winnebago to extract her. The two of them drive away from the scene of the burning muscle car, as the rest of the cell continue to discuss Agent Winnebago's redacted and the actions of the suspected hive mind present in Berkeley. Following the debrief, Agents Walter and Wild investigate Wolf's home, while Agents White, Warlock, and Winnebago rested for the evening. Addendum. Members of the cell reported having troubling dreams that night, with a common theme of invasion. The cell suspects that the hive mind is looking to take out Lindsey Grimes, a presidential candidate visiting Berkeley, and informs their handler. They are then tasked with ending the suspected assassins. Agent White establishes contact with Daniel Moore and convinces him to cooperate. He offered to meet Agents White, Walter, and Winnebago, and shows them where the body of of his sister Alyssa Moore was suspected to have died. He explained that law enforcement refused to investigate his claims of where her body was located, dismissing the details of the murder. Agent Walter began excavating the location of the remains, while Agent White investigated the nearby cabin. In the cabin fireplace, there was evidence of a burned body, specifically a femur, and there is no body where Daniel had said. At this time, Agent Wild began researching in a nearby library, reportedly feeling that he was being watched before receiving a mysterious letter declaring that the cell's work was done and that their efforts were futile and are otherwise unprepared. Immediately following Wild's message to the other agents, members of the hive mind confronted Agents Walter, White, and Winnebago, informing them that they need to leave the cabin. The agents were escorted off the premises, leaving Daniel Moore behind and taking Alyssa's remains. All agents returned to the office, other than Warlock, who left the office to eat at a local fast food restaurant. They discussed the hive mind's characteristics, confirming that the hive mind claims individuals in their sleep. Understanding the targets properly, the cell uses volatile compounds and firearms to destroy the suspected members of the hive mind, dealing with the threat to the best of their capabilities. It should be noted, however, let's see. It should also be noted that the trio of infected faculty members to the cabin came out burning together and began to speak in unison. They said that they were infinite, while humanity was just a fading memory. They never screamed as their bodies burned to death. End of report. A cell had successfully performed the summoning of a crowd of aquatic humanoid life forms. As per protocol, the cell dealt with the life forms swiftly, claiming a young specimen to experiment on. The specimen had shown great social and physical prowess, but was misplaced. She was found in a golden lobster and redacted. Agent Nancy had attempted to extract the specimen. Agent Anemone, and everything else is redacted. End of report. All right. Thank you, Guy, for that recap. Let's see. Now for a short opening. Spokane, Washington, 1978. It's a lovely summertime afternoon just before dusk, and she's struggling to keep up on her bike with the rest of the pack as they head to Lake Hades at Olympic National Park. Dylan is going to be there after all. She's been waiting for an opportunity to try to get him away from Brittany for quite some time. Come on, Lindsay. Keep up, Michelle urges with a smile. I'm going, wait for me, Lindsay pleads. A dozen or so teenagers cross a major highway en masse on a dare, drawing obscene gestures and blaring horns from passerbys. Lindsay hesitates and watches by the wayside as the rest of the herd disappears into the park. They cross into the perimeter, their bikes bouncing against the already trampled chain-link fence partition. They quickly abandon their rides as the forest around them becomes too dense to traverse on two wheels, and proceed instead to start running naked towards the lake, stripping their clothes off as they go. Arriving too late, Lindsay loses sight of the group as she rushes to follow suit through the brush. It isn't long before she is unable to hear or see any of them. Panic begins to settle in as she realizes that she's now lost. Naked and alone, she attempts to double back the way she came. Night begins to fall. Unable to see where she's stepping, Lindsay feels a rush of air as her foot slips and she falls into a darkened hole. She suffers minor injuries on her hands and feet, until she reaches the bottom. Her head hits something and everything goes black. When she wakes up next, she's in pure darkness. Her breathing becomes erratic, and her eyes sting with tears as she half-heartedly tries to climb out of what seems to be a large and irregular underground grotto of some kind. She cries for help into the cool night air for some time, but there's no response. Eventually, however, she begins to hear a sound echoing deep from within the recesses of the grotto. Unsure if she's imagining it or not, she follows the rough-hewn passageway. There is hope for a moment as her eyes perceive some faint ambient light ahead of a large chamber. She hesitates to make any noise, but begins to slowly make her way towards the light. Along with the faint light is a subtle humming sound that reverberates throughout the chamber. Before she follows the curve into the passage ahead towards the light, however, she becomes aware of a presence inside the chamber. Something tall and wiry, standing absolutely still in the darkness, just a few feet away. As she turns to look, her eyes adjust and she sees large, black eyes staring back at her. Fascinated, she continues to stare at it, frozen, and then it moves towards her. Full panic ensues, and she turns to run. The scream she had reserved stuck now in her throat. She somehow finds the strength to climb out of the grotto and runs through the forest at night, silently screaming, tears streaming down her face. An impossible light appears behind and above the trees around her. Captivated, hoping this was a sign of rescue, Lindsay stops and cries for help. The light shifts focus and envelops her totally. She feels weightlessness, watches rocks and branches around her rise into the air. The rest is a blur. All right. So, previously, you had dealt with these outsider entities, and I'm going to say that between the previous operation and the beginning of this operation, there's been about anywhere between 3 to 6 months of downtime, which in this game you have what are called home scenes. Every agent has them. When you look at your character sheet, you look and see which bonds you have on it, and basically this is an opportunity for your character to interact with those bonds and to play the way that the strength of these bonds are slowly deteriorating. Who would like to go first?
So, Tyler would like to pull a free birthday Tyler for Tony.
Okay. What would that
I would like to abandon a current bond and make a new one.
Who are you abandoning?
My last surviving sibling that I rescued from the cult. When I closed
What's
the
their
gate
name?
and burned the leader. Chelsea.
Oh, all right. So she was part of the cult with you, and you're basically abandoning them in lieu of diving headlong into the tapes that were left over for
Yes,
John
I
Cross,
would like
personally.
John Cross to be my new touchstone.
So you missed therapy again, is what it sounds like. This little group therapy thing that you have going on with your sibling. How do you see that playing out exactly? Is it when she eventually inevitably calls your phone and starts blowing it up like, where the hell are you? And like that. What do you like? Do you answer her back, or what do you do?
I was looking through one of I was reviewing one of the tapes of John Cross, and we had another conversation, him and I, through the tapes, and he gave me a message to tell her, so I gave it to her.
What was the message?
No one knows. She'll never tell, because, trigger warning, she walked out into traffic afterwards.
Gasp.
Okay, well, that's one you're gonna cross off the your character sheet for sure. Okay, so you lost a bond, you say? Let me check that here.
We have to pay for the repercussions of that, and then add the worst possible person in this game as a new bond.
Yeah, you can actually add your cellmates or Delta Green as an organization as part of your bonds.
I could,
If you wanna
but
go
I
that
want
route.
John Cross.
Oh my. Well, he's not. You don't really have a relationship with John. It's
No,
more
but
like
my
you
character
have-
can think he does.
Oh, I see. Interesting. Okay, so when you lose
A delusional
one-
obsession with the madman.
Yeah, that sounds good. Therapy. Personal pursuit can increase that. Okay. So, what would losing your bond mean in terms? Because it's to establish a new bond, you have to reduce a non-Delta Green bond by 1d4.
Yeah, so that'll be the sister then. And if that doesn't reduce it to 0, you can just say she's in intensive care and not dead.
I was just gonna say the other thing too. When you study the unnatural, you also reduce a non-Delta Green bond by 1d4.
So that's a total of 3.
Oh, okay.
And she was at max level, so that drops it to 2. So it's not gone.
Okay,
It's just weak.
not completely gone. Yeah. We'll take a look at the. Says I forget what the sanity loss is for losing a bond. I didn't expect that you would go that fast in the beginning. Like, oh, it's gonna be nice and slow. No, I'm gonna step on the pedal here.
Gas is on the right.
Yeah. It's your family, so it's gonna be a lot bigger than, say, like a cellmate or something like that. Broken bonds. Here we go. If a disaster harms a subject, you reduce that value by 1d4. Same thing. If disaster permanently removes, you're gone. Cross it off the sheet. When damage to a bond reduces to 0, damage run, repair, blah blah blah, etc. Make a sanity check. Let me know if you fail or succeed.
79, that's a success because my power is in the 90s still.
Okay. Just reduce your sanity by 1d4. Like if it was another cult member, that would be one thing, but it's your sibling, so there's still a bond there, and they're permanently gone, and you, on some level, you feel somewhat responsible for what happened, like you shared something, and
Yes.
one of John's greater truths as he comes to term them, and after that, she did what she did, and she's gone now. How is your character? What do we find Warlock doing before he receives the call from Barnabas?
How many raises did we get?
You got like 3 to 6 months ish.
So like 3, because I think every 2 months or so you can do that, maybe.
I think it's every downtime. I don't think there's a specific time fixed to that. So just give yourself an opportunity to select unnatural, studying the unnatural.
Well, for me, it's going to be when I embraced John's message, it unlocked my psychic potential, and I move up a rank in psychic power on both trees.
Oh, okay. All right.
So higher level pyromania and telekinesis, which means... What would they find me doing? Hold on. Let's find out.
What does his home time look like? Like where is Warlock stay? Like is he in like a ratty down apartment, or is he in like an old house or something like that?
That's the places he stays on mission. Warlock was very highly ranked in the cult, and when he closed the gate on Yogg-Sothoth and burned the leader alive in white fire, he took all the assets when he ran. So he's actually very well off and just doesn't tell anyone. I don't work. I live off stolen money from
cash money.
devotees and fanatics, yes. I actually have an
you don't use
isolated
credit cards
cabin.
anymore.
I have an isolated cabin deep in the wilderness
Okay, makes sense. All right.
where strange
Sure.
lights and strange noises are often seen and heard. So
So you learned quite a few things from what John refers to as his as his greater truths, something is forming in your mind. That much is certain. The more you talk with him, the more his special plan starts to make sense. But there's something missing from it all. He mentioned that you weren't the one that he wanted to talk to, not you
Yes.
specifically,
Yes.
which kind of is intriguing. So he seems to be aware of you and the others around you. You're not sure who exactly he's implying by, who you're, by the fact that you're not the one that he was interested in having
I'm
a
simply
conversation
tool.
with.
Yes. I must find his
Right.
vessel.
Which you find kind of fascinating. Like, what exactly is the point of what he's doing exactly? It's still just a weird mystery to everybody involved. Eventually, though, the phone rings, or you get a text message or something like that, encrypted message from Barnabas saying, "Hey, pack it up. You're going now to." He's like, "I bought you a ticket to Spokane, Washington. You're going to fly out first thing in the morning. Time
So
for another
which
opera night at the opera."
I would have been in my backyard starting bonfires with my brain, but when the text comes through, my new powers just kind of pop out because I haven't learned to control them fully yet. And in his mind,
Okay.
he hears me reply, "Yeah, I'll be there," directly.
Oh my god. What have we created? Okay. Excellent. So you let him know. You start packing up your stuff and getting out of there. Who would like to go next? No takers? I'll start with Devin then.
I was gonna say actually,
Agent White.
Agent White would like to make a horrible time with her sister,
Oh, what's your sister's name? And is she alive?
Kathleen. She is alive.
Kelly? Alright, and what does that look like exactly? Like, are you at the family picnic, or are you at their house? Are they at your place?
Their house, invite me over for a while, visit, see how you're doing ever since your fiance died. We haven't really spoken to you much. And
Whose fiance died? Hers or yours?
mine
Oh, that was your partner on. I see.
partner. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and they're trying to do the whole entire, see how you are feeling. And, oh, Megan is not having that because I'm great. I'm fantastic.
absolutely.
Why
You
wouldn't
don't-
I
you
be
don't-
awesome?
yeah.
I mean, look
You
at
don't-
me. I'm amazing.
You don't tell her about the dreams that you had, where you were the monster that killed those people in that burning fire.
Oh no. No.
You don't tell her about that.
Why would I say anything about that? That's stupid, crazy talk from the back of my head.
Of course not. You don't even want to think about it.
No.
Hey, Sean,
Anything
You
that
don't want to
comes
think
my
about
way,
that
just
creature.
gonna need you to change hats, buddy.
So
I
what?
love the
She's
hat
like,
change.
she's like, well, she tries to kind of get an idea of your current mental state, and you kind of smile through your teeth at her, like, yeah, everything's fine or whatever, and you're drumming
I'm great.
your fingers on the bottom of the table, like nervously.
Haven't you seen? I'm still alive and kicking. I'm
She
great.
just kind of nods slowly, like, you're definitely here.
Yes.
She kind of looks down like this, and you see her boyfriend comes up and puts a hand on her shoulder, like, hey, you ready for dinner? I hope you're hungry. And he looks over to you, Megan. What do you say?
Sure. Got any beer?
Oh, of course, yeah. And you like this? And like he pulls out like a 6-pack or something, and it's some light beer shit. You probably drink heavier stuff.
I was gonna say it's
Regularly.
shit, and I drank 3 of them before he's drunk 1.
You see your sister give you this. Oh, okay. Oh, you straight up tell him like this is bullshit. You end up like knocking him back.
Oh yeah, I knock him back. This is crap.
Your sister gives you this look like, would you please, not like take it easy? And her boyfriend picks up on it and it's like, it's all right. Yeah, I know it's watered down piss water, but whatever. Have some with me, and he,
It's like sex in a canoe. It's fucking close to water.
He laughs and she just kind of stares at you for a moment. Dinner is short and quiet. There's not much talk around the table. they just sort of chit chat about whatever, and they're on their phones most of the time. So you welcome the quiet.
I don't have to listen to these idiots.
Before long, it's already time for you to leave, and you're thinking about the first time that you got involved with Delta Green, when you got called to DC after the incident that happened with the creature and the fire. You remember being taken to the firefighter museum there, and Barnabas had made the analogy. We're kind of like what you are. We don't run from fires; we run towards them. And like some of the plaques and the statues that you see here, these people are remembered. They're venerated for their bravery, for what they did. That's where our mission is different. We don't get any recognition. Our names will not be on a placard somewhere. There will be no parades, no fanfare. We do this because it must be done. And that's when he made you the offer after they came in and helped try to assist you with what happened and explain to you what it was that you encountered and so on. You remember that as you're like sitting in traffic driving back to your home, and that's when your phone buzzes and it's time for another night at the opera.
Oh, thank God I was getting bored.
Your bags need to be packed by tomorrow morning.
I already have a go bag.
Excellent. All right. You go home and you happily start packing your stuff and the alcohol to go with you.
Oh no, I mean I have a go bag. It's ready.
Oh, it's already there. You just grab it yank it out of the closet. You're like, yep, I'm ready to go now.
It's that thing that's underneath the bed that's just ready to go. Yeah.
Gung ho, excellent. All right, who else is next? Any takers?
Yeah.
I don't currently have bonds on my sheet. Do you want me to invent some?
Oh, yes, please.
All right. Am I allowed to have a couple of other deep ones who are similarly living as basically illegal aliens who know about each other? Or would that be
one.
Sure. Maybe
sibling or something like that?
No, maybe not. Why don't we go with when she gets called back up, she gets to meet her father figure again, the doctor that she basically had a somewhat parental relationship with while she was a lab rat. And
Dr. Pendergast.
Dr. Pendergast, because otherwise her bonds are an enemy having to drop everything and get called in to be an agent for her. She always had a vague fear this was going to happen because she knew some of the other lab rats would get put on active duty. When they forgot about her, she assumed it was a budget cuts things, and she did not expect to see Dr. Pendergast again. And it is a decay of their relationship because Dr. Pendergast is a consultant. He's not an agent himself. He does research. She'd seen him somewhat as a trustworthy human and built a degree of attachment to him. So when he pops up again, still being an expert in her kind, still being the person who they consult when they want to find out what she is and what she can do, her relationship with him is mixed, and she wants to talk to him, and it doesn't go well. She remembered him as warm and paternal when she was a kid, but now as an adult, the smiles seem a little fake. It seems to have an air of not seeing her as a person, but a project, of being proud of how well she can fake human, but not acknowledging that she's a person.
Okay.
She tries to talk about her life and how proud she is that she has these 2 jobs. She's a barista and she works at the Golden Lobster and little details about that, and he's completely disinterested in it as she goes into. Yeah. And I made sure I memorized the special, and she's trying to build up to a conversation she wants to have now that she's been called in as an agent. She wants papers. She wants to be a legal citizen of the United States. She believes she has the right to. After all, she knows she's half human, or fully human as far as she's concerned. But she keeps getting the brush off, and Dr. Pendergast doesn't seem to be interested in helping her with that realization. Seems more interested in her faking human.
Yeah, doesn't consider you a person. And just sort of, yeah, as you sort of like give your, I don't know, weekly or monthly update to the doctor, you see him from one visit to the next, you see that degradation that you're talking about, where it's not even so much as he has like that haunted look to his face, like he just sort of stares off. And when he sees you, like you bring a lot of those memories back from the Mars technology facility. Like he just kind of like he too was approached by the cowboys after what happened there. This is all a bit of a blur, but he remembers. When he sees you, you bring all of that back with you, and he's curious about how you're integrating, and so he asks you a series of follow-up questions, and mainly pertaining to like your physicality, like, oh, are you, how are you processing the food now, and that kind of thing. Just out of curiosity. But as you go through your like daily routines, like, oh yeah, and I so-and-so got fired and blah 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 blah, he just completely like and he looks like he's just like writing something down on a chart, and and just like completely disregards what you're saying, outside of what his initial queries were.
Well, I mean, I found out that the real secret was fish oil, that I need to take a couple of these every day. Or something with a lot of omega-3. Otherwise, I get super cold and like really like stiff joints. And I mean, you know how much I like fish, but freshwater fish just doesn't do it.
Fascinating.
But yeah, so like I go swimming sometimes, but I don't really have time around work. I try to pick up any shift I can because it's hard to find a job that will pay you direct cash these days. They all want to do direct deposit. And, it would be really helpful if you could set something up. If I'm going to be working with people again, if I could have a bank account.
Do you miss the sea?
No, I miss the Golden Lobster. I mean, it has a great view of the sea, but I miss talking to people. And like we had a bunch of regulars, and like there'd be the church brunches that they'd always have, and they didn't really tip very well, but they always asked after me.
There's a moment that you kind of catch him like looking at you with what you think is pity. You're not sure, and he's just like, "That's good." He kind of like struggles to smile genuinely.
So,
well,
if you can't get me a bank account, could I like at least get a fake ID or something? I mean if you're going to be making me be an agent, it's going to be pretty difficult if someone has to ask who I am. We're going to be talking to law enforcement a lot, won't we?
I simply am in charge of your well-being. I'm supposed to check in and report back to control. You, the others on your handler should be the one to supply you with any necessary documents for legality purposes, she says.
Yeah, those are pre-recorded briefing tapes. I mean, it's great that it was practice using the computer, but it's just that you click through the screens and then they give you a little quiz on the end. And if you get the answer wrong, you just go back and keep answering it until you get it right. It's not giving me anyone to ask questions from. And I mean...
I'm sorry. I can't help you with that. It's like,
But...
Your charts are good, however. Everything checked out okay. I'm glad that you're happy.
Yeah, but it's gonna be really hard to go back, because I mean... Like, I had my friend who was letting me put some money in the bank in her bank account, but like that's not very reliable because she's not really that good of a friend, but like her mom's illegal, so she's the one who has the family bank account, so she understands what it's like a bit, but I mean, as far as she's concerned, I'm a refugee from Taiwan. And I don't look Taiwanese. And you can tell that that's about the level of, like, she gets it, is that she sometimes forgets and she says that I'm Chinese or that I'm, like, Korean. She asks me if I can understand some of the Japanese tourists' language, and she thinks I'm from Taiwan. And why would I understand Japanese?
Right. Izzy Pendergast is like, well, that's it's going to be slow going from here on out. It's going to take some time to get you up to speed legally. It's like it's.
But you can do it?
No.
No, not you, but I mean they will, right?
Of course. Talk to your handler. This is all compartmentalized information after all. Even I'm not privy to it.
Okay.
It's good to see that you're integrating well. I look forward to our next meeting. And kind of looks off into the corner like.
My gills flare a little bit, her version of a pout.
All right. Agent Winnebago. Tell me about your bonds.
He has a brother and sister, a daughter, and fellow survivors of extended captivity. But he likes hanging out with his daughter a lot, playing video games.
What's her name?
Good question.
Claudia?
No, it's a terrible name.
Carrie.
Carrie? No, let's go
Annette.
with Annette. Let's go with Annette. Annette sounds good.
All right. Annette. And how old is she?
Like 12, I guess.
Okay. All right. So you and Annette are playing on the Switch.
Yes, definitely a Switch.
You're like playing some sort of competitive game against one another.
Mario Kart. We'll definitely be playing Mario Kart.
Nice. You're going back and forth with her, and she's like, it's like, hey, where were you last week?
Fishing. Totally
Fishing where?
Lake Tortuga.
Are you going to take me sometime?
No, because there are giant bass that will eat you. You have to be older.
No.
Nope. Totally
That's
true
not
story.
true.
Yep. They eat humans.
Mom, he's lying again.
Oh, he's an only father, so there's no mom.
Oh.
Yeah.
No moms. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, bass, huge mouth bass. Great to fish for, but you can't take kids because like under 18 or so, because otherwise they just gobble them right up. It's a real problem.
I looked it up on the internet.
There is no internet.
Lies. Does she have a phone? She has.
He's a computer scientist. There is no internet. Yeah. All right. It's true. I was fishing, but you still can't go because the lake's radioactive. Totally true story.
Okay, that's cool that you're lying to your daughter. I guess I should make you roll for that, but he's not gonna do that. He's like, well, I want you to take me the next time.
Cool. How about, yes, we could do that. We'll go to a not radioactive lake and fish.
Is Uncle Walter gonna be there?
Uncle Walter? Uncle Walter,
He likes fishing too, right?
sure he does. He enjoys lots of fishing. Who the fuck is Uncle Walter?
You've probably I'm assuming that at some point you had to, because you've been working with the rest of yourself for some time, so
Yes.
it's inevitable that one of them, Walter or somebody will drop you off at the house or something like that from the airport. And,
Oh,
you know,
true.
and then we'll get a glimpse, and it's like, oh, who's that? Oh, that's Uncle Walter.
Walter. Yeah. Yeah, Walter. We'll ask him. We'll totally do that. That'll be great.
Okay. So he's like, all right, then it's a promise. Pinky swear.
Pinky swear, totally going fishing on a not radioactive lake with Walter. He makes a mental note to like think of which lakes don't have like deep ones and shit inside them.
I didn't even mention that.
Like
yeah, and you're like,
war
oh
in
yeah,
America.
that would be a good one, sure. And like you're making the pinky swear, like staring off, like thinking about where to actually take her, and then your phone starts buzzing, and you're like, oh shit. You go and check, and sure enough, it's another message from a cryptid message from Barnabas, like, hey, you're needed. It's time to go back.
All right.
See you in Spokane.
So Daddy's got to go to work. It's
But
not
you just
cool.
What?
Yeah, Daddy's got to go to
you
work.
Promised.
And no, it's not the cool type like in Fast 6 when the Rock's all like, oh god, Daddy's got to go to work, and I'm sorry, I can't do that. But tell you what, here's like $40. You order pizza and soda and call the neighbors, tell them you're alone, and then you should be okay. You're a latchkey kid. You got school tomorrow or something, right?
What do you do when you actually have to leave? Like, do you have like
I imagine
family member or somebody to watch?
Yeah, there's like a grandmother or somebody nearby, I would imagine, or friends. Grandmother will do Cindy.
Cindy, okay. Gam. All right. You call Cindy up. It's like, hey, I gotta get out of here.
Gotta go. There is a computer problem in Illinois.
Oh, these computers are terrible, I tell you. Okay.
Yeah, bunch of malware, hackers, Russia. Fucking Russia, am I right? Just the worst.
Oh, jeez,
right?
All right, yeah, be careful out there. Be careful out there, son.
Mom, I've told you they're not communist. Okay, no, we're not having this argument right now. All right.
All right, so she settles up and makes arrangements to come down and take. You probably will drive Annette over to her house, and
sure,
she'll watch her there for the time that you're out, and you have like your regular call-ins or whatever in the evening when you call her up and say, "Hey, it's Daddy." And
he would actually like have two cars. One he keeps in like a carport or like a storage facility or something. That's his his go car.
Okay. Works for me. Take it out of storage, you get in, and you're like, you think about the last couple of months, and you're just like, you're missing time. And you don't know what to do about these blackouts, these moments where you just disappear and all of a sudden you reappear somewhere else. It's really disorienting. Your handler and the rest of Delta Green hasn't been terribly forthcoming about the information. Then again, you haven't really asked too much. You've just been seeing like regular doctors and stuff like that. It's like, there's nothing wrong with you, buddy. Like, I almost swallowed you. We did a brain scan, and you don't see what you're talking about.
He half imagines something cool like in Fight Club is happening, but he knows it's not. It's definitely not that cool. It's probably very life-threatening.
Right. Do you make any attempts to communicate with the other self or the other, because you suspect there's some other person or personality or something like that emerging, and you're not sure how to.
I'll say he's tried, but he's never gotten a response.
Huh. Okay.
Like he leaves a random note somewhere, but it's obvious that it just never gets answered, or the note's always just still there.
What kind of notes do you leave?
Really ineffectual ones like, hey, what's up? Because he's not sure he really wants to know about what the other side is like.
Okay. All right. We'll put a note on that. All right. So you get your car out of storage. You think about your life for a second. Start loading up the trunk with your stuff and start heading to the airport.
Cool.
One last addendum here for Anemone. When you leave Dr. Pendergast's office, do you go back to the Golden Lobster, or where does she stay? Out of curiosity, like, what is her her home situation? Like, is it like some sort of like a rent apartment or something like that? I think you said that you were staying with somebody and they were claiming you as a distant cousin or something like that. Did we lose Panda?
You're muted.
I beg your pardon. Just
No
so
worries.
we're clear, you were asking me about a distant cousin?
Yeah, I wanted to just one little addendum to your home scene. After you left Dr. Pendergast, I wanted to get some details about like her living situation. You had said that you're being claimed as like a distant cousin or something like that to somebody else, to a friend of yours.
It's more that food service and so forth tend to have a bunch of undocumented immigrants in that, so she kind of blends in with that group. And as far as they're concerned, she has family somewhere out there, as far as the story she sort of goes with. She's not really that close to anyone.
Where does she sleep?
She rents a room out of one of those places that like stuffs itself to the gills with people, particularly during tourism season. You can get pseudo-temporary housing because you tend to see migrations of people that they'll go out to tourist spots during the summer and then they'll wash back in, and some people stay behind as well. And for the most part, that tends to be where it is. When she was younger and the system forgot she existed, she did a bunch of couch surfing and questionable relationships for housing and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So she's lived super rough, but is pretty good at finagling her way into, oh yeah, you have a couch. No, I don't mind doing the dishes.
How do you respond to, and this is someone you can actually add in addition to Dr. Pendergast as part of your bonds, go ahead and add Nancy. But instead of giving her the charisma stat, which is normal, add like 3 points to it. So whatever the regular stat is for a bond, whatever your charisma stat is, add 3 to that. And that's your bond with Nancy.
Okay. So did I know Nancy as a fellow lab rat? Or...
Yes, she was in the facility where you were kept under Mars Technology, where Dr. Pendergast was a consultant at. He was working there, and then something happened, and the whole place closed, and that's when you were introduced to this group, and you're basically brought in occasionally for information, like very specific information pertaining to languages that you happen to know that most people don't know. Like, hey, I recognize that symbol. It means this, whereas people would, for whatever reason, you know that, and other people do not know. Stuff that happened there is a little bit of a blur because it happened over a great span of time. But Nancy was a fellow lab rat, as you put it, and she's still around. She still just sort of appears and pops up in different places when you're like she did at the restaurant. And she keeps telling you that you need to wake up. Like everything is that you see that you're having all these interactions that you're having with these different people are all sort of happening in your head, like it's not real, and you're just like you half remember this interaction with her at the restaurant, and you're just like, I don't know what you're talking about. And you go back to work and you do your regular thing, and then you find her sometimes like at your door or at the restaurant itself or outside of Dr. Pendergast's office. She's like a Greek choir that just seems to just follow you around as you navigate your current life. How do you describe your relationship with her, like when she just shows up out of nowhere?
Initially, Anemone tries to, like, she's baffled about it. She asks, like, you mean I'm in a tank somewhere?
No, not anymore, she says.
She says Anemone doesn't believe that she needs to wake up, in the sense that she says, wouldn't it be like super expensive to run a sim? This is way cheaper. She would keep trying to engage with Nancy like people. Like she'd try to talk to her about pie. If Nancy was trying to be nice to her and not doing the you need to wake up, she'd gently start hinting towards like, well, do you think you could get me like a prepaid credit card? I will give you the money in advance.
She's like,
Because
I
then I
think you
can
a
do
lot of
online
these things
shopping as
yourself.
well. And
She makes the illusion that you can do a lot of this stuff yourself. You just haven't realized it yet. And she keeps trying to get you to remember what happened back at the Institute, but it's almost like you're hitting a mental block once you try to get to. You can only get so far, and then you can't remember the rest. So she's sort of slowly coaxing that out of you with every interaction that you have with her. She's like trying to get you to remember exactly what happened and what the current state of affairs actually is. But
Well,
she,
yeah, like-
when you're like, oh no, I work here and I have these relationships, she's just kind of like, when you insist on that, she just kind of backs off and like, okay, sure.
yeah. Otherwise, if like she pokes back to the lab times, an enemy will digress into anecdotes from the lab that are like they're a weird childhood, but they don't really point to anything that dark in the like supernatural sense. Like, yeah, so I remember when I was a kid, they used to put a stuffed animal at the bottom of the pressure tank. Well, they tested to see how I handled changing the like depths I was in. It used to give me like a super headache, and no one realized that I was crying for hours because my ears hurt and they were ringing from like having the pressure change too rapidly. But they couldn't get me to go into the tank until they put the stuffed animal in the bottom of it. That thing grew a really bad case of algae. I remember it was a stuffed Garfield.
Oh God, the smells. She's commenting. She says she has a Tennessee accent. She's like, oh God, I remember the smells.
Yeah, and then I would walk around in the room sucking on it because the algae was like really soothing.
Nourishing. She's like, you always seem to remember the good parts. Why is that?
Well, you got to keep a positive attitude. I mean, I'm not sure I believe that you can manifest your dreams into belief, but it doesn't really help if you just focus on anything bad. And I mean, like, it's going to get better. I'm going to get paperwork.
Yeah, you will. She's like,
I mean,
as far as
they can't keep
money's
doing
concerned.
this otherwise because it's like illegal.
Yeah, I understand. He's like, you need money, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, a little bit, but I mean, like a credit card would be more helpful, or like, I think my phone's about done. She's got like a second-hand phone that's like pay by the thing so she can get away with it, that she worked really hard to get, and it's like bordering on flip phone. But it is completely waterproof, which is its best feature.
She's like, call this number. He'll help. And he's like, ask for Barnabas. He'll help you. He's my old hand.
That is something that an enemy would follow up on pretty quickly. And it's worth noting that if an enemy ever like loses her temper with Nancy and gets overwhelmed, she won't freak out at Nancy, but then she'll go swim for like 8 hours because that's the only thing that makes her feel really, truly calm.
One of the weird things is that whenever you do lose your temper at Nancy, or when she gets like really intense into questioning you, she just vanishes, goes away, and you're just like, oh, did I just black out? Like, when did she leave?
An enemy tries not to do that to Nancy too much, just because she has a mortal fear of upsetting other people, because that's when the bad stuff happens.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, she writes down on a piece of paper like this number, and she tells you to call it and talk to this guy called Barnabas, and he's
Barnabas is
he
definitely
writes down
getting
some
a
notes.
call.
All right. So yeah, you over the course of time, you call this guy up, and he makes contact with you, and he's like, "How did you get this number?" Big husky, commanding voice over the phone line.
Nancy?
And you're not Agent Nancy, he says.
No.
Agent Nancy.
Nancy gave me the number. I'm an enemy. An enemy Gilman.
Where there's a long silence that goes over the line when you say that, and he's like, "I'm gonna need some of your details."
So Nancy gave me this number and said you could help me. So I got a problem with my citizenship papers because I got picked up as a kid and I was in care for a while and nobody really sorted those details out. But I know for a fact that my mom's an American citizen. Like,
Okay.
that's what my egg tender told me.
Interesting. So you knew Agent Nancy. Where was it that you knew her from?
Yeah, so, yeah, I've known her for a while. We go way back. She said you could help me out. Are you like a nonprofit or a lawyer?
Something like that. He says, he's like, yeah, if you knew any friend of Nancy's is a friend of mine, I suppose. We should probably meet sometime. Well, my name's Barnabas, by the way.
Yeah, that's what Nancy said.
Not my real
And
name.
an enemy notably will never refer to anyone like Nancy as agent.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you pick up on that. Like you're like, I know Nancy, and you're like, you mean Agent Nancy? It's like, yeah, Nancy, right? This goes on
Yes.
for a little bit, and then eventually he sets up a place and a time to meet you. And he's a very large, broad-shouldered man, military haircut and demeanor. He doesn't come alone. He meets you like a very public place, like a park or something like that, and he talks with you for a while. He gets the full story for you. This is what happened before, and then he's like, "I want to bring you in." And he's like, "There's something. There's like, you have information that we need, whether you realize it or not." And he's like, "We'd be interested to get that information from you eventually. In the meantime, if you're interested, we can offer you a job. I think it pays a little bit better than the." He looks at his notes. Golden lobster.
Well, what kind of job is it?
Right this way, he says. And he motions to a car that he has waiting on the side of the park as you're like walking through, talking to him about it. You see inside there's a woman in a green suit, and she's got sunshades on. That's what we can cut right there, and we can skip forward time a little bit to Spokane. You all arrive, and you are at the local airport, and are received by most of you recognize as Agents Cooper and Cordelia from California from the previous stop 6 months ago. You see, they wave you down, and they're like, "Well, welcome back," and hello. So that they look at you. All of you have worked with one another for some time, but the majority of you have not come across Anemone in the past. This is your first time meeting her.
I try to conceal the fact that Cordelia smells really strongly of chemicals from all the various serious business chemo drugs she's on.
Very good observation, yes. Yeah, you see, like, she's still working off like some sort of a hangover or something like that. She's like doing like this, and Cooper like elbows her and she starts looking around. It's like, all right, come on, all of you, we got your rides waiting on the side over here. It's like, we got the office already set up, operational security's a go. Barnabas is incoming. He's ready and ready to give us the briefing.
And I would go along with it, giving everyone my most earnest smiles. Hi, everyone. I'm Anemone Gilman. So I guess I'm going to be working with all of you now.
You see Cooper's like, that's correct. And you see, you got fresh new IDs and phone and like one of those American Express black cards or whatever, so you can just like, put whatever it is that you want to purchase on a card. Like there's a, unlimited amount of money there for you to use for whatever means you have for.
Someone is really excited by having a phone with a camera that's not broken right now.
Yeah, it's like going to Disneyland. You're like, ooh, look at this! I'm stepping outside of my my regular zones here. They receive you and they escort you to the large SUV, pack you all in, and see like Cooper checks his watch and he's like, the others are straggling in. We'll get to them eventually. For now, we need to get briefed. Barnabas is waiting at the safe house. Everybody's ready to go. Anybody hungry?
I could go for tacos. Maybe a sandwich.
Good call. You see Cordelia shakes her head. Like, fine, we'll stop for something on the way. Excuse me. And you see your part. She's like starts driving into the Taco Bell. And it's like, that's not a taco. Come on. And Cordelia's like, time.
What
There's
did
a
she
large
drive into?
Marge's right over there.
Oh,
She
Come
picks up
on.
something quick for you, and it's like here. Driving into what appears to be another rental space, another like office, prefabricated location, still in construction in many areas. She's just like, don't go upstairs, it's a mess. Stay down here. Hardly no cubicles or anything like that. There's just a couple of offices. It looks like this place crashed and like they're still gutting the place. Like there's pieces of computers and stuff like that lining up the walls that they're just like waiting to like give away to some charity or another. So everything's like packed up and ready to go, but like not in boxes yet.
Oh, is this like a contact center?
He's like, this is an operations center. You see Cooper say, it's like I'm Cooper, by the way. This is Cordelia. This is Agent Winnebago. This is Agent Warlock.
Great to meet all of you.
hey,
This is
it's good
Agent
to see you're
White.
still alive.
White lady.
They were on the
This is
last
a
mission, right?
Do you,
No, last mission they were Cordelia.
you told him your
that
first and
doesn't
last
make
name,
sense.
which is like the cardinal sin of any Delta Green agent. So as soon as you said your full name, like both Cordelia and Cooper was like, oh my goodness. And you
Don't know,
they
don't
take-
care.
They take a moment. Cooper does like, okay, so what we're doing here is a little bit of a secret spy stuff, okay? Government stuff, let's call it. So everybody here, if you've already noticed, has a fake name that they use that starts with the letter W, just because that's the operating cell that we work for. Feel free to make up whatever call sign or code name you want for yourself, and we'll refer to you as that. Don't want to give everybody you meet on the street your full name, because like I said, we're doing secret stuff here, right? You okay with that?
Weber?
Weber. Okay. Good. It's just like, all right, everybody. Agent Weber here is going to be our friendly.
I'm very friendly.
Cordelia just kind of, no nonsense, arms crossed, noted.
Your mind is fascinating.
Thank you. You're really sweet. Eek. Oh my God, I think we're going to be friends.
Great. Eventually, you see a car pull up. There's like nothing to do here. It's like no music, no operating computers or anything like that. Although some of them pique your interest. Winnebago, when you look at them, it's like, oh, is that holy shit, that thing's old. You take a look at it. It's like retrograde computerware.
These look kind of like the computers at the library.
Oh yeah, definitely like of that type. Eventually, this large SUV pulls up next to yours, and you see that same man, Barnabas, gets out. He opens the door, and he's like, "All right, meeting room." And you see Cooper and Cordelia's like, "Welcome back, boss. Good to see you again. What do you got on the docket for us today?" He's like, "Oh, this one's a doozy." He says, "Have a seat." He sits you around the table, and he pulls up a briefcase, opens it up, and takes out these dossiers, starts handing them around. There's a black and white photo attached to it of this woman. I'll show you her face here in a second in Discord. He's like like Lindsey Grimes is a candidate for the 2024 election for president. She threw her hat in the ring recently as a third-party candidate. Grimes comes from a long line of political pedigree. Michael and Helen Grimes both served as senators for Washington State. They began their careers in local city government and moved up from there. Lindsay got bit by the ambition bug after 2016 and has been campaigning for her candidacy ever since. Recently, one of her opponents dug up some dirt on her, blasted it all over social media. It alleges that Grimes and her parents were at the center of some sort of controversy back in the 70s. In the local papers, Lindsay's name showed up as part of some bizarre story where it was alleged she was abducted by aliens up in Olympus National Park. After weeks of flyers and missing posters being proliferated around Spokane and the nearby towns, she suddenly appeared in a small town called Turnbull, just outside of Spokane. According to the report, she was naked and couldn't speak coherently for days. Her parents undoubtedly had a hand in keeping things quiet in the media. Helen was running for re-election for state senate again, and Michael had his sights set on the governorship. With the story squashed, the rumors eventually dissipated until recently. Here's where things get interesting, though. Grimes wasn't getting much national attention. She recently went on a talk show and decided to lean into the rumors. Not only did she admit that she was abducted by extraterrestrials, she's also promising to reveal any classified information regarding them if she's elected president. Normally, this sort of thing would become the death knell of any politician, a final nail in their political coffin, right? But it's 2021. I don't have to tell you how the "we told you so" crowd quickly seized on this. Grimes suddenly found her popularity rising high in the polls. Like I said, normally we wouldn't care about this. However, if there is any truth to these claims, we need to investigate them. In the good old bad days, Majestic cut deals with extraterrestrial entities to access their technology. Some of you may remember what happened in Groversville a million years ago now. Long story short, US government had some less than exemplary dealings with outside alien intelligences. If Grimes has been compromised, we need to know, especially given how much unexpected support she's receiving for her candidacy. I don't have to tell you that if Majestic knew about Grimes, that it's a good chance the program knows as well and may be lurking about. Cooper and Cordelia are back with you for OPSEC. Your digs are already set for downtown Spokane. I expect the same level of diligence with your progress reports.
Yeah, sure.
Questions so far?
I repeat the comment I got from the tape from John when I specifically asked him about her, the democracy comment. I just kind of spit it out.
Yeah. Yeah, the part where it's like, oh, it's this, illusion of so I can see your messages. He's like it's the illusion of choice as an institution is what he calls democracy. And he's like, oh, Jesus, John Cross, right. Do we have anything on the, as per the transcripts? And he asks Cooper and Cordelia, and Cooper's like, I read a part in here about law and chaos. Do we have to read this? And he kind of gives him this look, and it's like, maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't. And he's like, and Cordelia's like, I'll read it, for fuck's sake, and grabs it. Isn't it amusing that the people in this world that always say they like order and rules are always the ones that are so fast to break them, subvert the very order they claim to love so much? Thousands of years of life, and this is really the best we can do. Rules on top of rules on top of rules. Because otherwise, what are we really? Animals? No, that's not quite right. But then we're descended from what? Apes? Amusing, really. The evolved apes cry for justice and create rules for themselves and others, laws. But it's complicated, so they elect other apes to write and enact these rules. They are trusted with keeping those rules, except that they're just human and regularly break those rules for their own benefit. And you let them. Probably because both of you know what it would mean if you didn't. Yes, that dreaded word that you love to hate and hate to love. Chaos. Interesting then how freedom is often classified as a life without rules, regulations, or borders. No limits. Self-determination. Free will. Well, not to worry. You've all done such a wonderful job managing your hideous little garden that soon enough you'll have so much freedom you won't know what to do with yourselves. She kind of takes her glasses off and throws the the paper on the desk. I love this job, she says. And Barnabas is like, love him or hate him. There's oftentimes some gem of information that Cross always hides in his words. This may not apply exactly, but he did refer to Lindsay Grimes by name in one of the videos, did he not? And you see,
that's
like,
the quote.
That's
the quote I spit out from memory because you read it to me last session.
Yes, and
I even sound a little bit like him when I say it.
Democracy, another invention of human society. The illusion of choice institutionalized. And remember, the interviewer was like, "What are we talking about now?" And he just said the name Lindsay Grimes. You see the guy like jot something down. He's like, "The presidential candidate? What about her?" And he doesn't respond. He just sort of smiles. It's no, in the transcript, it's like the subject smiles. It's like, obviously, John knows something we don't. And that is, in and of itself, is troublesome. So, I need you to get everybody up to speed. Look into this. Once we have more information, we can make a better decision on what to do about Lindsay Grimes. Until then, maintain operational awareness. Any other questions? He says, and he looks around the room before he leaves.
Yeah, where's the rest of the team?
Yeah.
Running late, he says, looks at his watch. It's like he ran into delays, but they'll get here eventually.
Did the park ranger find an empty...
We have the...
Sure to brief them.
The park ranger find an empty staircase in the woods, and I laugh.
We have the important people. That's all that matters.
As long as we have the team here, that's what the important part is. You all have different specialties and abilities that can lend to this particular operation. Keep in contact with me through Agents Cooper and Cordelia as normal, and keep me up to date on what's going on every 48 hours or so. We'll be in touch. There are no other questions.
If she's compromised, do we dump her in the lake?
One thing at a time, Agent Winnebago. One thing at a time. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And he packs up the suitcase, and then he kind of, has a short word with Cooper and Cordelia outside before he leaves.
Adios, Gramps.
He has a little bit of gray hair, not a whole lot.
I look at Winnebago, and I say, "You should keep the lakes clean. Some people enjoy lakes." I glance at Anemone.
I'm more of a saltwater person myself, but thanks for thinking about me.
Good. Just what we need. More salty people. Looks at Winnebago.
Yeah, you see, she's like, Cordelia is just like, yeah, we need to get cracking on this as soon as possible. If you recall, Lindsay Grimes was the speaking engagement at the UCLA Berkeley location on our last operation. Somehow, I don't think that's a coincidence. At the time, we felt that these outsiders that we've been looking into ever since, these entities that supposedly are able to colonize people's minds through their dreams, we feared that she was their target initially. And that's why they had infiltrated the university as they did. And you see Cordelia goes on, and she's like, now we're not so sure. This may be an indication that things are much more complicated than that. If Barnabas is correct and she's been made by some other alien intelligence, then we may have some sort of a struggle going on here that we've not been aware of until now, which obviously needs looking into. We're just here for operational security, so you have the helm. And she gestures to the four of you in the meeting room. How should we proceed exactly? Initial lines of inquiry, and so on.
I look at the rest of the group expectantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cooper looks at Winnebago. Goes, you got some fancy computer stuff you can use to get us some more information there, Winnebago?
Sure. What do you want to know?
Time. And he says that to you like, I don't really fucking do anything with computers. Did I do something with computers the last time?
Right.
Kind of like,
yeah.
oh yeah, sure, yeah.
Totally
remember
did
that.
computer stuff last time.
Cordelia and Cooper look at each other when you say that. Yeah, so if you could do that again, that'd be great. Whatever it was that you did. I think you did a search, didn't you?
Yeah.
Records.
Did some searching. What do you guys want to know?
Well, I think at the time that Grimes was supposedly abducted by aliens and appeared suddenly in Turnbull outside Spokane, she was like all of 14, 15 years old.
Okay.
I would imagine if, her parents were political people of importance of some level, that there would have been a file somewhere that we can obtain. I don't know if this is the type of file that can be accessed through a database or through a file cabinet somewhere, but maybe her medical records might glean some kind of information. If she was abducted, there's got to be some trace of her experiences.
So you want me to look at an underage girl's medical records?
I want you to do your job, damn it. She says, look into, it's like if we can pull any of her old medical information, that would be good. Or even recent medical information, which might be more modernized and digitized. You can access it on a database somewhere online or whatever. That would be cool. Or, if we can patch into the cloud and do your computer wizardry, maybe that would be a good step in the right direction.
Got it. All right.
Friends, family. She's got to have somebody we can talk to. Now, her parents are gone by now. They've passed away years ago, so we can't talk to them directly, but we can talk to people who knew them. We can talk to her staff. She's currently on a tour, as I'm sure you've noticed, which with one of her last stops recently being in or canceled at UC Berkeley, California. So we can try to intercept the tour bus or ride along and see if we can question some of the staff. I'm sure she has friends and lovers and what have you, just like any normal person. We can start our investigation there. I don't know what the hell you do exactly. She says it points to Warlock setting people on fire, apparently, among other things. But whatever, and warding off evil spirits or whatever. But whatever
in
you
her
can
head,
do,
I read your mind. That's what I do.
Okay, don't do that again. She says.
In her mind. Noted.
Okay, so I will look for modern medical records just to see if that gives us anything to go on.
Just an idea, she says. She was picked up at some sort of convenience store. It says here it was the Old Time Service Station in Turnbull.
Okay.
There were less than a handful of witnesses that were there at the time when she got picked up by the emergency services after she showed up naked, apparently. So that might be a point of interest for us to look into as well.
Okay. I rolled
And there's the park itself, of course. Something happened to her at that park.
I rolled a 56 under 70, so What do I find?
You're going through like government databases and stuff like that. Where like you're finding information about people's benefits and stuff like that through like your access through the different company cloud, like through the actual medical company's records. And you pull her name and it comes up, and yeah, there's current information there. Nothing outrageous, like she's whatever, she's formerly diabetic, really run-of-the-mill boring medical information, nothing crazy. There's nothing that stands out to you when you look at it, but you notice that there's a huge gap in records between the time that she was born and the time of this event. Around that time, those records are gone. Like there are entries that are missing essentially from those from that era, from those years. It picks back up sometime later, like maybe 5 or 6 years later after what happened in '79. Mm-hmm. That's when they start picking back up.
Is there a birth certificate?
Yeah. All that stuff is normal. The only thing that's abnormal are the missing records around that time.
Okay. Huh. So there's like no records until after the event.
Precisely.
Interesting.
Barnabas did mention that her parents had considerable pull, and they likely squashed the story. Back then, it was a lot easier to do than now. So you imagine that if they went to that extent, it's also possible that they also had any medical records pulled for their, as per their direction.
I wonder if they have anything on their local systems or drives or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Did she live in Washington her whole life?
Yeah, she really
Washington
did.
has a centralized database of immunizations, so you'd be able to see if she got medical services through an alternative channel.
Okay, I'll try that.
Cooper nods.
The new lady is already more useful than the park ranger.
We're not in the park. That's obvious.
Agent. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh wow, that is that's a 4.
Oh, nice.
Good roll.
What'd you get?
4%.
Oh shit. Okay. What are you rolling for exactly?
Computer science to do like computery stuff across the internet.
Okay. Searching for what exactly?
The alternative medicine stuff that Fish Lady was talking about.
Okay.
The Washington immunization system that keeps a complete record of everyone in the state of Washington's vaccinations separate from other medical documentation.
There is so there's actually information there that links to an office in Spokane for a psychiatric practice. And let me get the details for that. Yeah, here we go. You come across the practice of one Melanie Yin.
Okay.
She's been in practice for a very long time. And it's when you look up her Grimes's records specifically, there is an old reference to her office saying like, "Oh yeah, she has the originals."
Okay, cool. So we know to pay this person a visit.
You have your first possible lead, and at least as far as I'm concerned, good idea. And you see Cooper looks over at Em and he's like, "Hey, good Good job, Agent Weber.
I know a lot about immigration law, and finding your vaccination records can be very important to determining your identity.
Not wrong, he says. Agent White, Agent Warlock, anything to add?
This part is not my part.
Yeah, that's a searching bit. The last time I used a computer, I don't know how I did those things.
You did it though. You rolled ridiculously well. Okay.
I'm just gonna say that the last time it was one of those times when white lady decided to try and do computer hacking like they do on TV, and it actually worked.
By some chance.
And even white lady, with all the megalomania, knows something was fucky there. I don't know how that worked. It's because I'm blessed. I am like
Clearly
a godchild incarnate. That's the only reason that worked. It just makes my head that much bigger.
Sure. So you have that location for Yin's practice. How do you make contact exactly? It's still in the middle of the day. Do you want to call, or do you want to swing by, or do you want to break in? Like, what do you want to do?
I like the idea of swinging by and breaking in. I mean, as long as we get you in, you can get us all the files we need, right, Winnebago?
Cooper and Cordelia are just like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, sure, probably.
All right.
We can just, request to the files, Agent White. You see, Cordelia says.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Request them.
Break in.
You request them. We see how quick we can get them, and we'll win.
All right. She's like, all right, well, who's going? And who's staying at the office?
I look at Winnebago and I'm like, as long as I could get your ass in there, you can get all the files, right?
Well, we can just request them. We don't necessarily need to steal them, I feel like.
But that's so slow.
Yeah, but last time we did that, I doxed some guy, and that was kind of messed up. So how about you let Weber go in there, talk their ears off, and get some stuff done?
I'm not always really good at talking to people. Sometimes, because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. She attempts to get across that she knows a lot of stuff and she's good at lifting things, but she's really just earnestly hi-ing everything. I mean, I could if you wanted me to. I'll try really hard.
See, already got the files already. Nailed it.
Like, not everyone really recognizes Batrachian Americans.
Everybody blinks. What?
Oh, I'm a Batrachian American.
Of course you are, she says. What is that again?
Well, we didn't choose the term Deep One. That's kind of a translation, so we prefer the term Batrachian American.
Noted.
And
That's good
not
information to
everyone
have.
is open-minded.
Huh.
Yeah,
But I'm
clearly.
sure you're all nice.
Huh.
Two of us are nice.
There's all sorts of alarms
does
going
that-
off in your head when Winnebago like,
Wait, hold on. I grab my phone. I look up the Trachean. I look at
you get something completely different.
I walk over to
It means fish-like.
I know.
I walk over to White Lady. I grab the back of your head and tilt it so you can see the side of her neck. I don't actually say anything.
The gills gently flare a little bit.
Huh.
Huh. That's different. Cool.
Cool. You're sidekick material.
We used
Sure,
to summon
whatever you say.
Batrachian Americans to bring us gold in the cult. They were fascinating people.
Yeah, my people practice consensual sex work.
Yes, they do.
You see, Cordelia's like, has to step outside for a second. Like, what did I just listen to right now?
What?
So you go through the process of packing it up and heading down to this practice, I'm assuming, all of you? Or some of you?
I spend a lot of time at legal clinics and like with nonprofits and stuff for resources. So I really know a lot about that stuff.
I'll wait in the car.
When Big was like, I'll wait in the car, you guys go on ahead.
I will wait for a little while before I get annoyed and go off without any reason to go off.
Is it just Anemone going into the...
No, I will go in and
okay.
keep the eye out for other mines that might want to interfere.
So just
Interesting.
so we're clear, I'm going in the front door, or are you asking me to break in?
No, we don't need to break in.
You guys are requesting the files, aren't you?
Right.
Yeah.
I look at
You guys
my
are
ID
picking
to
that
see if it
lame
gives me
man.
any sort of officialness. I look at
Not
the fact
really. It's just an ID.
that
It's a state issue ID, you know.
I
I
tell
hold
you,
this up.
I'll get you inside. You get what we need.
Oh, so you do want me to take the files because I can steal them, but I don't think they're gonna listen to me about, asking for them. I mean, I guess I could pretend to be the cleaner.
That's a good one. That's a good idea.
I'm here to clean.
I'll hand you.
Well, I mean, I've done it a
House.
bunch.
I'm gonna
Here
hand
to
you a
wipe the
bifold,
windows.
and when you open the bifold, just the plastic container with the blank white card, and I say, just show them this when we get inside.
Okay.
So you lead the way, Agent Warlock. You open the door, and Anemone, you're filing in behind him.
And because it amuses Warlock, the bouncy, happy, cheerful person opens the bifold, and it says IRS Special Division. Whoever looks at it.
Awesome. All right, so you approach the front desk, and they're like, "How can I help you?"
Hi.
A couple people waiting.
I
in the
need to
waiting
talk
room
with
here.
you regarding some records that we're going to require. Here, I hold up the ID.
I successfully activate the power.
Okay, you spend your points for your sanity, etc. Describe how that looks like. If it's like,
It looks like an official IRS Special Investigation Division badge, which basically means free reign to audit anything in the
okay,
business.
great. You see, like the secretary's eyes go wide for a second, like, "Oh, I didn't realize we were being audited. Excuse me." It's just like picks up the phone. Dr. Yin, are you available? Okay. Yeah, we're being audited. Send them in. Okay. He takes up the phone. She'll be seeing you here shortly. She's with a client. 5 minutes.
Actually, I
You
thought of
go
something.
right in anyway, Warlock, or what are you doing?
Oh no, I'm just getting her this far. It's on her now.
In my case, the first thing I'm gonna do is see if, looking over the place gives me any information, because I know enough that the IRS normally doesn't get to walk away with medical records.
Yeah, you look around and you're just checking around the area here, and you're trying to keep an eye out, and something catches your eye as you're looking around. You see Nancy walk out of one of the rooms and into an adjacent area outside of the just right past you.
Eric, there is something I want to do while I'm outside.
Sure.
Want to tap into the outside phone block just to monitor any calls that might be going out in or out.
Any calls coming out of the facility?
Yeah, just monitoring what calls are coming in and out of the facility.
Because I've got because I've got the secretary right in front of me still, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So, I just have normal persuade ability, but I'm going to attempt to convince the secretary that we need everything, and ask them what their procedures for making it available. I would mangle something about whatever protection of records, not like HIPAA, but the other one for personal information. The abbreviation isn't quite right, but no one pays attention to those safety briefings anyway. I only know it because I worked at a call center for 3 weeks and had to go through that training as part of one of their contracts, and basically just running a stream of babble as she is way out of her depths with this particular assignment.
Oh yeah. Go ahead and roll your persuasion. Winnebago, you're monitoring which any transmissions heading out of the facility.
And I get a 97, so that is a flat out fail.
You see, she just cuts you off. It's like 5 minutes. And she points to a seat like close to the wall, and she picks up the phone, and she's busy doing some other stuff on the computer. She's pulling up records. You do see a line go out immediately. Agent Winnebago from Yin's office. It's dialing some weird number.
I tap that line.
You try to tap that line. Give me a roll.
It was 52 under 60.
You see the phone rings a few times, and it's like, yes, and somebody from the IRS actually picks up.
Oh,
it's like,
shit.
Yeah. What's going on? It's like, are we being audited today? Are we on the schedule for that? It's like a moment goes by. It's like, no, you're not. Why? There are people here claiming to be from your office. Please hold, it says. A voice says over the line. That's where we'll stop for our break.
Oh, no.
In about 10 minutes, that's 9:54 Eastern Standard Time. back. Before we went to break, our agents paid a visit to a psychiatrist's office in downtown Spokane and claimed to be working for the IRS. Agent Winnebago was tapping the phones outside, however, and intercepted a call to the actual IRS, and things were progressing as unplanned. Once you hear that line of conversation, Agent Winnebago, what do you do?
I take over the call and transfer it to my number.
Oh my. Okay, so it's just like there's just a sudden cut off, like, and then like you pick up. You're talking to the agent on the other line.
Yep.
All right. I'm sorry. What just happened? Hello.
Domino's Pizza. What can I get you?
Is this a prank?
No, this is no. What? What kind of pizza would you like? Or would you like some of our new jalapeno poppers?
This is a federal line, and we did not call you.
I don't know, man. You called me. I don't know why you're on my
Click.
my jackass.
Okay, what do you do after that?
Just do they call again?
There's not another outgoing call. There's another incoming call.
Okay, I take that call.
They don't say anything when you pick up the phone. What do you do? What do you
Hello,
say?
this is Donald.
Yes, is this yin practice?
No, this is Donald Jones Esquire. How can I help you?
Oh shit. Is they take it sounds like they're looking at the display on their phone, like, did I really fuck this up somehow? No. Yeah, sorry, wrong number. Hang up. You all are fine.
So
which
I
one
get
of you
in.
would like to roll? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I get into the PBX and like any incoming calls drop within like the first ring.
There's a couple attempts to call back in. Like, what the hell is that? But it's after the first try. After that last try, they were just like, whatever, that was weird.
Okay.
And they just hung up and don't try back. Do you try to block her office's call to the IRS or something like that?
Those I would try to at least intercept and see what I can do.
Okay. You see that they try to call back, but the line's busy.
Mm-hmm.
They're just basically put on a hold. Okay. Roll exposure for me. Sean, do you remember how that works?
No. How does that work again?
So
Roll
it's on a
D6.
range of 1 to 6, and
that's
you
right.
roll a d6, and if
What's
you
our
roll
exposure?
the current number that it's on, you're fine. If you roll on or below what it's currently at, you're fine. If you roll above that number, it goes up 1. So you're currently at 1. If you roll a 1, you're fine. Anything else, it goes to 2.
Oh wow. Okay. I rolled a 3.
3. So we're at 2 now. Okay. Things are starting to ramp up already. All right. Love it. So you're tapping and monitoring the calls. Meanwhile, on the inside, 5 minutes is just about up, and Dr. Yin is ready to receive anybody who's wanting to walk in. Warlock, are you leading the way, or is Anemone taking lead on this?
Enemy would be sweating if she was able to sweat.
I'm gonna check the surface thoughts of the minds around me and see if any of them are hostile against Anemone. If not, she can lead the way.
Most of the people are just like, she just flies under the radar. They're not paying attention to her at all. Some people stare, like somebody's kid is there and they're like, shit. I'm assuming though she has like her hoodie up or something like that. Like she's, yeah. But I just imagine so she's already taking like like that to just kind of like obscure, how she appears in public and stuff. So the kid only gets a glance and does like a double take, and then goes right back to whatever they were doing, like playing with a toy. So most people don't. They see a hoodie and they're like, whatever. They shrug. So you lead the way, and you notice, like, for that one split second while you were looking around the office, you could have sworn you saw Nancy walk into one of the other rooms.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, some short, cute little blonde walked in there, and you're like, huh. But you lead the way into Yin's office, and it's an older woman, graying hair, nice outfit though. Her office is arranged as you would expect. It's a little bit sparse, but there are like accolades on the wall and stuff like that, and the pictures showing her shaking hands with like some actually famous people, like local politicians and celebrities and such. And she's like, she kind of like makes a face when you walk into the room wearing a hoodie, and then the person behind you has a tattoo on their face, if I'm not mistaken. They're like, I'm sorry, I was expecting someone from the IRS. This is
I hold up the IRS badge looking mortified.
She's just like, all right, I was trying to get a hold of somebody at the office to confirm, but we had a little bit of a technical issue. And she holds up like the landline phone. It's like going, so she hangs up the phone. It's like, have a seat. It's like, what exactly are we auditing here? Are we talking about financial records? I have those available. I can get you in contact with I should get you in contact with our accountant. She says it's like looking for his number on her phone.
We're going to need to get what you have on site right now.
Everything?
And everything, what you have on site right now. We're going to make sure you get a receipt. And my effort is to steer her to where the financial records are. And hopefully Warlock takes the hint, which is done via like a little bit of an elbow nudge, go after the medical records, because the IRS ain't getting me anywhere.
That's awesome. I need you to make 2 rolls. The first is a persuade, and the second roll is a luck roll. A luck roll is very simple.
As far as persuade. Because I got 20.
Whoa! Okay.
And I got a 63.
63. Oh, wow. Okay. So you, excellent. So the way luck works in this game, it's a 50-50 shot, basically. So if you roll under, something happens. If you roll over, something else happens. Basically that. So you made your persuade roll. You're like,
I got a 27.
Oh, you rolled under luck and for persuasion?
No, for persuasion, when I rolled, I got a 63. Then you wanted me to roll luck, and I got a 27.
Oh, shit. Okay. So you failed the persuasion, but you got under on luck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's very defensive. Yeah, if you already rolled, she gets very defensive when you ask to see the financials of her business. Like, excuse me, no, wait a minute, hold on. This wasn't scheduled, and I'm actually gonna call my accountant, because he has actual dates and he can confirm this. I wasn't able to get through to your offices, but I can confirm with him that our audit is not until some other time. I'm sure, and our stuff is up to date. And she.
So I understand you've
any
been
one of you
audited
can roll.
Before.
Oh yeah, clearly. Any of you has a human intelligence or hummant, you can roll that now.
I sure do.
Or if you have like a psychoanalysis, if you want to like go toe to toe with the psycho.
Oh wait,
I have a 10 in psychotherapy and a 10 in hum int.
I have a 60 in psychotherapy. Bring it to this person.
I mean, she's only a little bit better than you. She's been doing this for a long time. She's probably like at 80.
I got a 6.
6. You rolled beneath her roll. She made her rolls, but you made yours as well, and you got lower number than her.
I don't actually use any special words. I just use anti-psychology, body language, and eye contact to cow her. You
can tell that there's a reason why she doesn't want you looking at her financials. She's very, very touchy about that. And she's like, I can give you any other kind of records you require, but if we're talking about like, financial ledgers and stuff like that, there's a time and a place for that, and today is not the day. And she's like still busy trying to get like the number for her accountant for the business. What were you doing in enemy? Were you also trying to roll something else?
Well,
no, I just done the persuasion and the luck, and I failed the persuasion. My goal had been to get her directed towards the financials of the hopes that someone else could pinch the medicals. Now, as far as medical records, do we have like the old-fashioned office setup where they have file folder after file folder after file folder with the numbers on them?
Yep.
The problem is they've almost certainly deep archived her records if she was a minor. So these aren't stored on site. We need to know whatever archiving warehouse she stuck them in if she hasn't completely digitized her medical records at this point. Although if she failed to digitize them, it would explain how come we couldn't find her medical records otherwise.
She's pretty up to date from what she tells you. She's like, yeah, all of our records are digitized. It's on the system. You just need to look. Like if everything's there, like, but do you specify like, oh no, we need just certain records, or because you told her initially like, oh, we want to see everything.
You know what? Gilman is just gonna go flat out and act like she's been persuaded that she'll take a bunch of medical records instead because of some prescription fraud issues.
Okay, that's good. I like
that's
it.
Good. That I think is enough of a good setup that you can actually re-roll persuade to see if she'll be able to.
It's not gonna work. I have a 20.
20%. Oh my.
You can do it.
I got an exactly 20%.
You got it exactly.
Nice.
Get on
Look at
20%.
Wow. So you are coming across very consistent right now, and because don't forget, when you fail a check for a skill, put a check mark or something next to it, and it goes up. It goes up.
Yay! I could get up to persuade 24 after this game is done. That'll be useful.
Yeah. It might.
No, doesn't it
certainly
only go up by
prove
one?
useful this time.
20. Is it the score or below, or is it anything below that?
It's honor below. Honor below is good.
Okay, I finally persuaded her that if she just gives me the medical records, maybe she can get me to go away.
Yeah, she seems apprehensive about handing out over like the pure financial aspects of it. It's like, well, fine. If it's just prescription fraud stuff you're worried about, that's fine, no problem. And she's like, she starts typing something on the computer, and she's like, okay, well, what is it that you need exactly? Just for a year's record, or what are we looking at?
So, getting child-like records is a little weird, but Gilman is just gonna go for it.
Go big or go home.
Yeah, she's gonna ask for a couple of other random things, some irregularities. It was a psychiatric facility, wasn't it, that got mentioned where stuff happened, or was it this practice where the vaccination records had popped up?
This was the vaccination records because, yeah, she is, or was, I don't know if she still is, Lindsay Grimes' psychiatrist. Like, she is the person that they brought her.
The direction I'm going in now is the reason why there's an auditing issue is that we think there's some impersonation going on. There's been some improper claiming, and I would attempt to get Lindsay Grimes' file, but I would also attempt to get a bunch of, John.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, I thought it was me.
Nope.
Yeah, same. I thought I was going
froze.
to. Damn it. Wait for her to come back here in a second. But,
Yep.
Yeah, you notice something about her body language, Warlock. She's definitely hiding something. Like, she's nervous anytime you bring up financials. Welcome back, Panda.
You froze for a second, right at the end of your sentence.
Yeah.
Did you get everything I was saying about how I was asking for things in a variable set of letters?
Not
names?
quite, no.
Like including like Lindsay Grimes, Sam Grant, Ann Hill.
Okay, all right. That part I missed. Okay, that part we didn't get. Okay,
Yeah.
So you actually name drop Grimes, and she's in the middle.
Yeah, but
of
in a
doing
bunch of
something
other
when you
names.
Yeah, you throw in a couple of names, but as soon as you name Grimes, she just kind of stops and looks at you and like goes back to the screen and like, oh, okay.
I would like to make a
she's just
stealth
like-
move.
Okay, go for it.
0-3. I'm on a roll right now.
Oh, wow.
Shit. All right. What are you trying to stealth here?
I slip a Wi-Fi flash drive into the USB port on the back of her computer while she's busy facing down Anemone. And then I text Winnebago. Here's the Wi-Fi
Remote
key to
work.
the flash
Alright.
drive. Get the financials. Get them all.
I just instantly tap into the network from where I'm at and go for it.
Excellent. Give me a roll. You see the Dr. Lin is just like, okay, all right. We don't have those
I rolled
older records that you might be looking for. It's like a lot of these records specifically, especially if they're older files are actually at an offsite location. And she's like, she brings up a file on her thing, and she's like, okay. And she takes like a business card, she flips it around, she writes an address on the back and hands it to you. It's like that location has all the paper, like the physical copies of the old files before they got digitized for the most part. You should be able to find everything that you're looking for there.
Right. I
Copies
take
of the
the
originals
card.
and original documents. Mhm.
And I'm not really sure what else I'm supposed to do here. I do say I'm going to take what we have now, and I want all of them. And my character is a little bit panicking because she's not sure what to do here because she has like a 10 in bureaucracy even. Nothing on her sheet equips her for this particular scenario.
And yet,
here she is now. There's really nothing I could do here. I guess what I keep doing is attempting to be distracting until it looks like Warlock wants to leave.
you look around the room to find something, and you see a picture on the wall, and you notice that one of the people that she's shaking hands with, like she took a photo with, is this couple. And when you look at them, you see you definitely remember having seen photos of these two in the dossier that Barnabas just gave you with Grimes's information. That's keep forgetting their names. This is.
I'm assuming that's Mr. and Mrs. Grimes, governor and senator, respectively.
Michael and Helen, yeah.
Yes.
Michael and Helen.
Because of what I've noticed, I'm going to switch the conversation over to all the famous people she knows and act like I can understand why she's being resistive about handing over records, because obviously she has extra things with confidentiality. This isn't the normal situation. And just go into a line of like, blah, 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 blah. Like mouth running a mile a minute, panicking.
Yeah, she's just kind of like, okay, yeah. Eventually, Winnebago, you worm your way into the system and you start accessing these files. There's quite a bit here. Do you want to like extract everything of the financials, or
so I'm
just,
gonna
like,
get
take a
super
sampling?
computer nerd on you right now. A place like this would have some sort of backup and recovery device that would back up and probably offload that data to a cloud
service.
site. So I'm just going to reroute that offload, that nightly backup, to one of our locations, and then program something into the backup device that then just like causes it to overheat and melt, so that.
Oh my god. Okay, so yeah, you worm your way in, you open up the laptop, and you the flip up thing comes up, and you're like, you change the links, and like, you see the thing starts like, oh shit, the links have changed, hold on, and starts like transferring the information. It sets up the backup for your machine instead. Do you have it do it like immediately, because there's a lot of information in there?
Oh yeah, I can set it to have it like during their normal backup period, probably overnight. I would just have it shoot the backup file off to one of our secured servers, and then just have it wipe itself and destroy itself.
Excellent. Okay, you set that up. After you get a text message back from Winnebago, I would imagine once you got it all set up, like, okay, we're done here.
I text back, call my phone.
Call his phone.
I
Domino's
answer it.
Pizza.
I answer it, and I have a one-sided conversation that somehow orders an extra large pepperoni with black olives. Don't know how I worked that out. But anyways, the actual conversation is, it sounds like our boss called, and we actually got the information we needed about this company. And I make it sound very cryptic but ominous, and then I tell Anemone we're leaving.
Excellent. Okay. So you have this conversation on the phone, and then eventually, she overhears you like, okay, we're done here, and she's like, oh, thank God. She has a look of relief on her face, like when she realizes that you're about to leave her office, and she's like, well, I'm glad we were able to come to your assistance. Thank you so much for dropping by. She says, have a good day.
Here's that an enemy's awkwardness is contagious.
So you file out.
Yes.
Go
There is a
straight back to the
moment
car?
when they're a little bit away from the door where an enemy stops and does some deep breathing.
You're really good at this.
Hey, thank you.
He appears to say with
Great.
complete sincerity.
It's
Excellent.
unclear whether she's sincerely happy about that or not.
Do you all go straight back to the car and get out of there, or is there something that you want to do while you're in the office?
Nope, we got more than we thought we'd get with the weird
Excellent.
financial stuff.
Okay. Does anybody? I don't think I think there might be a skill for it in this one. I keep forgetting. But there should be like an accounting or something like that. I could be wrong about that.
There is, but
It is
I
accounting.
don't have it.
Does
I don't have
any
it.
One of
Accounting.
you have it. Yeah.
I have it at 10%.
Yeah. I mean, I'm willing to throw a roll just for the hell of it.
Sure. Why not? What's the worst that can happen? You fail it, and then it increases.
I rolled 66. Oh, darn.
Match failure.
Let me see.
You're like, oh, that's fine. It's boring.
have-
Your eyes glaze over the moment you see the numbers.
I rolled a 7 under 10.
Oh shit. Okay.
We're on fire today.
Did anybody else roll under their accounting?
No,
I wanted to raise accounting.
I got a 20. I failed.
I got a 47.
Okay. So everybody's like, whatever, fucking financials. That's not us. And you're like,
They're
I'll take a
numbers.
crack at it.
Who
You take
cares?
a look, and you're just like, oh, wait, what? And like you're just like scrolling through, and it's like, yeah, there's a reason why she is the go-to psychiatrist for all these like famous people and politicians and stuff like that, is because she does a whole lot of money laundering.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. So Yin's practice that has been going for decades is rife with this sort of corruption. Like she's basically laundering money for people that want to keep that money hidden. She's basically holding it and washing it and sending it back out to different people.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Typical mundane criminal shit that you can point to if you need to, as a Delta Green agent, build a case to do XYZ. You have that now.
Okay.
Funny because the last session you were like, we're here for money laundering. There's no money laundering going on there. Now there is.
So
Excellent.
that's
So what do
the
you...
first time I've been asked to do that sort of thing. Usually they ask me to do some translating of stuff or info, or sometimes I help out with the heavy lifting. And sometimes when there's bad people, I'm good at taking care of them. And of course I can swim really well. Also, I make a really good latte.
This catches Megan's attention.
A really
Lattes.
good latte. I even know how to roast the beans and everything.
You see Cordelia and Cooper look at each other and it's like, well, we need to get a coffee machine in the office, so let's make that happen. They stop and they pick up some essentials, go back to the office and start setting it up. And then they basically just ask you questions over dinner, like, okay, so once they bring in some takeout or whatever, they're like, okay, so what did you find exactly in there? Because there was some, like Cordelia and Cooper noticed that there was a buzz of activity, but they weren't there to see firsthand what happened.
Did we find anything in the medical records?
Anemone got an address of where they're actually keeping the old physical copy files.
So just the
Holding
financials for now. Okay.
Right, and you see do you share what information you found out about?
Yeah,
the
I
financials
share
and everything?
everything with the group.
Excellent. Yeah, so you see Cordelia's like, well, no wonder she was apprehensive to share the financial information. She's been laundering money for fucking decades. Okay. So that's something we can use against her, anybody else for that matter, if we need to build a case or pull additional information, lean on her if we need to. We should probably check out that other location at some point. Unless either it's up to you if you want to go officially or unofficially and acquire that information.
I'm probably better at unofficially.
This could be dangerous, though. If you're going to break into a location and steal files on a politician, that's particularly dangerous territory. You see,
I don't
Cooper's
make
like,
any
well, that's the
decisions.
job.
When you said they picked up essentials, did that include an espresso machine?
Sure, yeah, because he said a latte, and they're like, yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm busy setting up the espresso machine and like being very excited. Like very excited.
You put that stuff together, and after they give you the request, and they try to hide the fact that it's damn good, and they're just like, yeah, pretty good. And then when you're not looking, they're like, fucking good.
I tell you, it's awesome when I have one.
I will approve of it as well.
I
have decided that Warlock
is
is my new best friend, and I will not leave him alone. I am just earnestly staying beside him and trying to make him like me.
So you see Cordelia and Cooper are like, well, that's a lot of information that we got already. Now we just need to get the more precise information about Grimes. We can probably hit it first thing in the morning, unless you have other ideas. I was just thinking about officially requisitioning it. She points to herself and Agent Cooper. It's like we're, former Secret Service and diplomatic security service, respectively. Like we can pull that information if we need to. We just need to flash a badge and we're in and out. Sort of thing leaves a trace, of course, but all in the interest of national security.
We should probably try to get it ourselves first, because we've been leaving a lot of traces.
So, Agent Warlock, do you have any family?
Sister.
Oh, wow. What's she like?
You say have or had?
Had, yes.
I still go with the, oh, wow, what's she like? Because I misheard it, so an enemy misheard that.
I show you pictures, and then I talk about what she's currently like, which is weird because she's dead, but I do anyways.
An enemy does not appear to have the ability to tell. That's weird.
Good ability to have, I guess.
Only I had her essential
like, all right, well, if you're going to make a go of this and try to bring this out yourselves, we can act as lookouts. We can hang back, keep an open channel. We got a rental, he says, and he points to like the back of the office. It's like a spare car that we could use to tail you if you want to take the SUV or vice versa. We'll hang back and keep an eye out. We can provide cover if you need it. Who's going in?
I'm going to be going in because I've got a relatively good stealth score at, what's my stealth again? I've got a 60 in stealth and a 60 in alertness.
Okay. Excellent. What about the rest of you? Are you coming along for this or hanging back at the office?
I would hang back because I am super stealthy at 10.
Okay.
I'm good at stealth. 2 is better than 0. What about Dad?
I would I would probably go, but dress up as a tech, like Spectrum Comcast guy, and just sit on the lines.
2 is better than 1, not 2 is better than 0.
I'm going to disguise myself as a cleaner because I feel people will take that more seriously than a suit. Also, I didn't bring a suit, so I'd have to buy one, but it's easier to get rubber gloves and borrow the bucket from the cleaning cabinet of the office.
This is true, yes. Although for you, it's money is no object at this point. You literally could go out and get a suit if you wanted to. But yeah, you could you suit it up and you grab a bucket.
But I don't think my character knows how to get a suit, so it better be something like federal at a low-level position because it ain't gonna fit well.
Gotcha. Yeah. So yeah,
she thinks being able to buy whatever you want at Walmart is rich.
Right. Yeah, you acquire some things around the office. You take a smelly bucket with you and stuff. You're like, yeah, I'm the cleaning person. Got the gloves on. Warlock, you're along for this one?
Which one? FedEx driver.
FedEx driver. Good call.
So you're driving Anemone over there. Winnebago's in the back, and Cordelia and Cooper are just following in the rental behind you. They hang back and let you do the work. It's a warehouse in a warehouse district. There's a lot of other stuff here that is being housed. Yeah. There's a lot of like excess archival stuff that is kept in this warehouse in addition to what's there from Yin. So you would have to at some point access their information to find out where exactly in the facility, this massive warehouse, is this thing being located, these files. So it's like, oh, is it in lot 1 or lot 23 or whatever, you know? How would you like to approach this? There is what appears to be a very typical security system, and there's like a night watchman on patrol inside the building. There's at least 2 or 3 of them, and they have the typical walkie-talkies. They're private security, so they have sidearms and so on and such, whack and hut, whatever.
I'm going to be the distraction this time, so Anemone can do her thing. I'm going to park Go ahead.
I'm not sure if my ability allows me to dismantle the security system, but I am just going to clean my way around because no one gets mad at someone with a, like, mop doing stuff who, if I get interrupted, I break into broken English, and since I don't really speak Spanish, it's a mixture of Spanish and fish person of like, yes, I am an illegal alien. Please don't report me to the like ICE, please.
Okay.
I park right in front.
I'm just doing my job.
I park right in front, and I get a dolly out, and I just start unloading massive empty boxes to get the security guard's attention, like I'm making the biggest delivery ever.
The guy behind the monitor sees it. He calls one of the guys over. So one of the 3 goes out front, and he peers through like the windows of the office, and then he comes out. It's one of those lock systems where the door automatically locks unless you have like the little swipe card. So he just lets it slam, and then he goes over to see what you're doing. He's like, "Are we here?" It's like, "This is after hours. There's no drop-offs available here. You got to move this." Are you already moving in?
Belligerent Bostonian loud delivery guy. I'm just going to distract these people.
I am just going to stealth around while he's distracting. Can I roll stealth?
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
And I got a 3, like a 3%.
Yeah, that's a success right there. Yeah, you, as soon as he moves up and looks this way, you go whoop right past him. Like he's in front of Warlock, and you just kind of went around the long way of the SUV and just start like going down the alley in between the 2 different warehouse buildings. And yeah, you're gone. You just disappear in the shadows.
Cleaning, I'd surreptitiously make sure that the team got a picture of what I was at so they could help me figure out where the hell I'm supposed to go, because wherever I'm going, they'll be able to track it because it'll have the cleanest floor.
You did so well. Like, he threw open the door, you know, because it's like, oh, nobody's here. Like, it's going to slam shut and lock automatically. I don't have to worry about it. So the security guard throws open the door and walks out to see this guy, and they start getting into a tit for tat. And that's when you take the opportunity to just, like, hold the door open with the mop and then just slide right in.
It's up to you to guide her, Winnebago.
What's that?
It's up to you to be the map guy and guide her.
Oh.
Yeah, what's Winnebago doing in the back in the SUV?
I'll actually go to the building, find where like their internet cable taps in, and then get into that and see if I can't figure out security cameras, or if I can't find like a PDF map of the place that somebody has on their desktop, because they can always get lost.
Are we talking about endless rows of really dusty banker boxes? Player has a lot of experience being around bookshelves full of medical records.
Metal, it's metal shelving, like from here to forever. Warehouse 13 style or whatever. Like it's from here to from the ground to the ceiling, just stacked full of random box stuff.
An enemy would be looking at whatever's like on the labels of the boxes, because usually they have some sort of code on them, and making sure that information goes to Winnebago, because he'd be the one who'd be able to tell her, it's section Q8149 through to R8948.
Okay, 1 second. I'm having to make some secret rolls here. Winnebago, make your computer use roll.
16.
Yeah, you're good. You see where their line terminates or whatever, and you're like, okay, you jack into it, and you start you're able to like access one of the main unit that's like hardwired into the system or whatever. So you can access that and like pull basic information out of it, like, oh, okay, here's like the floor plans or whatever of this place, like emergency exit, like plan for like in case if there was a fire or something like that, you have like the layout.
There's almost certainly a map he'd be familiar with, necessary to know for the Wi-Fi in the building where they have the various nodes or even the plugins, because it's likely the Wi-Fi is managed by an external company or some hapless IT guy.
Yep.
Yeah,
in my other life, I used to manage Wi-Fi.
Same. Okay, so you tap into that and you get some basic information from like one of the lines, one of the units that are like wired into the system. Anemone, though, when you slip into the through the door, and you just breeze right past the viewing room, the guy's still watching the monitors, didn't notice you at all. You go right up to this door, where it's like the loading bay or whatever, like the storage. And as soon as you open it up, you see that there's a guy there with your standard security guard with a flashlight or whatever, except this is private security, so he has a side piece as well. And he's just walking up and down the aisles, and he's looking. He's like, "Who's there? Is that you?" And like you quickly like realize that he notices that you're walking into the bay where all the storage stuff is located.
He's noticed me, and I don't have any instructions from the team whether I should knock him unconscious. I don't have any persuade ability, but since he knows I'm here, cleaner. And I put on I let the accent of my first language, which is fish person, so it's clearly foreign, but cleaner.
Roll luck again this time. Do you want to roll high or do you want to roll low?
No.
Low. Okay, so you want to roll under 50.
I got a 21.
Rolled it. Okay, so lucky you. He's like, well, shit, you're late. Go over there. He's like, we had a spill in like lot 3.
Okay, I'm good. Lot 3 also gets cleaned, and because it's her, she tries to do a very good job of cleaning.
Fantastic. So you're getting to work while you're doing that, you're keeping an eye out, you're looking around to see where exactly this is located. You can give me alertness now. Is that one of your better skills?
Alertness, I have 60, so.
Fantastic.
And some actual stat, 31.
Excellent. So while you're there, you're actually looking around and you're like, I think I found it. And you kind of like weasel your way over and you look And sure enough, you see like there's an old file cabinet that has like the locks on it and stuff like that, and it's just sitting in like plastic wrap or whatever it is that they do with these things, like when they ship them off, and they probably put them inside of. Actually, I'll just say that there's a series of boxes that they're labeled like LIN for her practice, and they just have like it's just like old dusty files sitting inside these boxes.
Okay, is there anything like a dolly kicking around?
Oh yeah, several of them. In every
How
lab, there's like.
easy does it look like it would be to? And are there any windows in here?
No, it's a warehouse.
Oh, okay, not even for ventilation.
No, what there are bays. So they're like different bays at the back end of the warehouse where the trucks pull in and they unload.
Okay.
Unload.
And so I went in via the front door method.
Which was the
delivery
office,
guy came in the front. Would it be easy for me to get out like a fire exit instead without it going off? Because that's less likely to be monitored than the front.
Yeah, there's a side exit. Yeah, with that's like labeled, like emergency exit, whatever. You can open it up and go through there.
Okay, well, Dolly moves boxes whilst I'm also carrying my mop.
Okay, so you start moving the stuff onto the dolly. The security guard, obviously there's something going on outside, and you hear the guy who stopped you initially, at first he starts watching you clean, and then he hears what's going on in the walkie, like, hey, we got a thing going on outside with some loud asshole, can you deal with this guy? He's like, I got the cleaning people back here, and you see like, the what? Never mind, like I'll be right there, hold on. And you see he walks out, leaves you to your business, so you actually have an opportunity to move that stuff out.
To the fire exit, and out we get.
You wheel the shit right out. Warlock, you're outside going back and forth with this guy. It's like, hey, I told you 3 times, all right? You're not dropping this shit up. The loading bay is back there, and it's after hours. There's no pickup, there's no drop off. You comprende?
Moving along in a very orderly fashion with my dolly, squeaky, towards wherever I can get picked up by people.
I'm just channeling my best insert Boston actor here. Well, I don't actually say anything logical. I'm just over-talking him with sheer volume.
Offer to put your boss on the phone and give over a random party member and let them be terrible too.
You see, you all receive a text message from Cooper now that because they're seeing what's happening from a distance. They're like, okay, I think this is where we come in.
I have the boxes.
You see that they pull up, and instead of you going directly to the SUV anemone with the files, you see Cooper and Cordelia come up, and they open up the doors to the trunk to the rental, and you see the one security guard's like completely paying attention to Warlock, and that's not noticing the other car that just pulled up and the other activity that's going on. And he's just like, I'm gonna have your car towed. I'm like, just you leave it here if you want. Like it's gonna disappear. It's not going in that warehouse. I'm telling you right now. You see all this going down, Winnebago. Is there something that you wanted to do in addition to what you've already done?
Turn on the sprinkler system and destroy everything?
That'd be fucked up. Are there any data systems here that seem to be named anything interesting?
No, nothing that jumps out at you. At least as far as like the database and everything that's here, nothing really calls out to you.
Okay. Then no, I don't know if I want to set off the security system. That might be fun.
I honestly thought you were going to kill their internet, because that more than likely that means like their security cameras are going to go to shit. And like, oh fuck, I gotta call
no!
these
Now that you say
again.
that, I will totally do. Like, I will fuck its day so bad. Like the wires cut back to like they're gonna have to rewire through the concrete and just they won't have internet for days at this point.
Oh, yeah. You start like snipping here, snipping there, whatever. And, like, you
Wires
see
are crossed.
inside the office as the guy's monitoring what's going on. Just as Anemone's like leaving on the little dolly, the screen freezes, and he's just like, "Oh shit, we lost the signal." And you see the one guy's like, "Hold on, I'm on my way," and he goes out to the front and he sees these two going at it. It's like, hey, just fuck him. We got problems inside. We got to get on the horn to the ISP. Come on, let's go. He just like throws up his hands, goes back inside. Cooper and Cordelia get help you load the boxes up and get back. They get you in the back seat and they're like, all right, back to the office we go. Let's get out of here.
I don't need help loading the boxes. I got a strength 15. What I do loading the entire dolly in is worry that I'm authorized to steal the dolly. Of all the things I asked for reassurance about, was it okay to take the dolly? This is going to be a problem, right? Is it going to get taken out of my pay?
Moment that if White Lady hears that, gets to go, oh, you took the dolly.
When you get back to the office and you see her like with the dolly, you're like, you took the dolly? Cooper's like, cut it out.
He's messing with you. She's messing with you.
Lord.
He's kind of mean.
No, you all seem very nice. You're very funny.
Like, well, that could have gone all kinds of bad, but at least we have the information we came for. Let's step into the meeting room here and go over what we got. These are old case files from a long time ago, and when you start looking over them, you realize that as Lindsay Grimes' medical records, a lot of them have been the reports from that particular day have some of the details have been redacted. Like you see that there's like a big strike through black line, like obscuring what's there, old school. Like, that's unusual. This is a copy, by the way. This is not the original. Looks like, and then there's like a symbol that's stamped onto the paperwork itself for the that came through in the copy that Yin retained, where it's it has the seal for National Security Agency, NSA. Some of the information is, of course, redacted, but the information on there is still visible. Like, for instance, they show, like, they conducted X-rays on what's there, and you can all give me alertness. Any of you who look at it.
All right.
I got a 55, which is below my alertness.
I got an 18.
I failed.
Fail.
Success. Critical success. For Anemone, you're on fire. Yeah, you notice it, while everybody else is just kind of like, this looks like regular X-rays. There's nothing spectacular here. You're drawn to the image, the X-ray of her brain, specifically the frontal lobe, where you notice there's like a weird sort of blurry area that doesn't look quite right. There's a mar there, almost like there's a scar on the brain, if you can call it that. It doesn't look right, and for some reason there's a part of you that's like, there it is right there. You don't know how you know this, but you point it out, like you immediately like laser guided sight onto this detail.
Point.
And when you look at it, Winnebago, you're like, oh, that is kind of weird. But you can see how anybody could look at that and go, oh, it was old X-ray equipment. It's just like a blurry blob or whatever. If you were to give it to an imaging specialist, they might say something to the effect of, that's an artifact right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's something there about the frontal lobe of Lindsay Grimes' brain that is showing up weird in these X-rays. the rest of the stuff is pretty mundane for the most part. It's weird, but there's nothing that screams you got abducted by aliens. As a matter of fact, the information that isn't redacted but has for some reason been kept private, you imagine why, you imagine you know why, is Dr. Lynn's what is the word for it? Her conclusion after she looked her over, talked to Lindsay and about her entire experience. She believes that the reason why she was having this psychotic episode where she was completely naked in a town, 50 miles outside of where she lives in Spokane, and was babbling in a language that nobody can understand, or just speaking gibberish, which is how it's listed, is because she believes that she was actually assaulted, and this was just her way of coping with that. Like she was just she attributes it to any number of different things. It's possible that this was a disassociative fugue that she slipped into because whatever trauma she truly experienced was so traumatic that she just blocked it out completely. And something about that hits something with you, Anemone, specifically because you too have experienced some kind of trauma. You suspect something happened back at that institute that you can't quite remember all of the details. And it's almost when you read that part of, or when someone reads that out loud as you're going through the files, it kind of raises a flag in your mind. It's like there's something there that you can kind of that speaks to your own experience, like how your brain is trying to protect you from something that could potentially damage you in very real ways. That's what Dr. Lynn is sort of alluding to in her conclusion when she looked over Grimes. So it's essentially, she's like, it's possible that the three beings that she claims to have seen, blah, 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 were actually people who abused her at that lake or in those woods. Well, it's like, local law enforcement will have to get involved and conduct inquiries and so on. And she makes a series of different recommendations for, I guess she's a psychiatrist. She could, recommend.
She could do prescriptions. She's a psychiatrist, so she gets someone else to deal with the actual work.
Right.
No offense to any psychiatrists who might be listening.
Yeah, so she basically makes a lot of recommendations as part of the footnotes of her report. And that's what you get from that, essentially.
Has anyone examined the scene where the alleged abduction took place?
Huh.
That would be at Olympus National Park in Spokane.
Did Grimes, when she was open about, oh yeah, I was abducted by aliens and is now getting more attention about that, say anything further about it that would help identify where?
No information came out about that place other than what you were originally given. Just checking something here. Checking my facts here about the location. National Park Service, right? Okay.
It's too bad we don't have our
It's
park
in
ranger.
Port Angeles, sorry. Yeah, so Olympic National Park is sorry. Okay, so yeah, it's in a place called Port Angeles in Washington is where she went. And where she disappeared for weeks.
Ask people, is there a facility in the area?
By facility, what do you mean? You see...
like a facility. Like a research?
Like the restroom facilities are right over there. You see Cordelia
No,
his
like
arm.
a facility, like where you have research?
There are many research facilities. Which one are you talking about? You see,
Like the kind of facility that Anemone would point at her, not quite. It's not that she doesn't know how to say illegal research facility where they experiment on innocent Batrachian Americans who were just curious about the weird music and went with their family. but she attempts to tactfully allude to a place where they experiment on people for clandestine reasons without saying that.
Okay. Yeah, you see, it takes her a moment to figure it out what you're getting at, and she's like, "Oh, you're talking about a research facility where they conduct experimentation on near human subjects."
Yeah, maybe she walked into something she wasn't supposed to, or maybe someone was trying to send a message to her parents because there was a disagreement, because some of the facilities can have really rough inter-office politics.
You know, I think you might be onto something here, she says, because it looks like when this report initially came out, they immediately jumped on it, and they made copies of it and redacted a lot of the reports. Like, there's still stuff in here that's missing. The only thing that's left is Yin's actual psychiatric evaluation, as it were, and her recommendations. Everything else about the medical aspect of it, like when the hospital looked her over and made their report, they yanked it. They yanked it and they put a stamp on it and then redacted everything else and handed it back to them and said, "Here you go. This is what you have officially now."
Hey, so this is a bit of a side note, but do we have any files on ghouls?
Did you say ghouls?
Yeah, you know, the really nice people who eat brains?
You see, like, Cordelia's like, "No offense, ghouls are rarely nice people."
I know one.
No, they're awesome people.
I know one. I'm just saying that because I have a really high unnatural skill.
Yeah,
I pull out my cell phone and look expectantly around the room.
Oh, you don't know anybody? You see, Cordelia's like, I don't know any personally. It's actually pretty dangerous to be interacting with ghouls. Why do you ask?
Well, I was hoping we could get some files on them, like, you know, there's like ghouls who work for the agency, right?
I've heard of one or two, yes.
Yeah, so I think that they're capable of doing a bit of editing.
This is where something's gonna happen. Hold on a second. You see, Cordelia's like, "Yeah, I used to know one before she died."
Okay. So when did she die?
A couple years ago.
That's so sad. I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
So, like, do we have any, like, files on what, like, a brain that's been touched by a ghoul looks like?
Touched by a ghoul? You mean eaten by one? I don't,
No, like
afraid
touched.
Not.
Like, you know, it's not just nah, 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 and at this point you would see an enemy's claws, like, out as she makes an imitation of a monster. Like, that's what people think it's like, but it's a lot more complicated.
I don't think we have that kind of information on hand. You see,
Like-
Cooper says.
But that kind of reminds me of how that works, so I was hoping that you might, but okay, it's probably nothing.
No, I think you might be onto something. If it's possible that Grimes got moved into a facility like this, it's possible that they may have the actual records. They may have more information. However, getting into if something like that is still up and running now, it's probably under the supervision of the program, and that's definitely not a place we want to go. On the other hand, there's the park itself. She disappeared from that location, and there's got to be something. There's got to be something
We just happened to accidentally stumble on a facility. It's not our fault, isn't it? Do I have to return the dolly?
No. You see, Cooper's like, You can keep the dolly. It's fine.
Yeah, but I was only authorized to take the files because, I mean, I could have dealt with the security guard some other way, but you
okay.
didn't tell me if I could, and I'm not going to do it unless you tell me I can.
We'll add it to
We
the
improvise
requisition
all
form.
the time. Yeah.
Thank you, Warlock. You're the best. And unless Warlock attempts to resist, Warlock gets hugged.
Oh.
Warlock is okay with deep ones. It's good with this. They make better friends than humans.
Is White or Winnebago adding or have any questions with what you found so far?
I don't think so.
They do mention one person as part of the report that was at the location when Lindsay Grimes showed back up again out of the blue, who actually is the owner and proprietor of the little store that she wandered into. Let's find the damn thing. 1 second. Yes. So there's a listing of somebody here by the name of Curtis Jackson. He is the owner and the proprietor of the Old Time service station. That's time spelled T-H-Y-M-E. It's a self-service gas station, one of these old ones, these hangovers from the old days.
Mhm.
Still in operation in that form, at least back in the late 70s. Jackson is stated as having said that she was completely traumatized. She was babbling on about stuff. I couldn't understand what she was saying. She wouldn't talk to me or she would only talk to me. She wouldn't talk to anybody else. And she just showed up while I was mopping the floors, like he was like working late at night at the station. And all of a sudden this naked woman starts like running up and pounding on the door. And he goes on to say something and it's completely blacked out. But in the sentence leading up to that, he's like, she was blacked out, redacted, and it's like, and it got all over my floors. I had to clean it up and blah, blah, blah. So apparently something was going on where she was like covered in something, and it made it like when she came in, she slipped, and it was just made a mess on the floor. And he's like, I don't understand where this blank came from, but it was a mess. I had to clean it up.
I'm gonna take the redacted stuff and I'm gonna see, because this was old-fashioned redacting. Someone did this by hand. There's a small chance that they did it unevenly at some point, and there might be the edges of some letters. And this is a thing with a person with high alertness should do. I wouldn't mind if someone else with a reasonable alertness score would also take a peek, because we might get lucky.
Oh, you rolled a critical success, right? You rolled a matched number when you succeeded the last roll for alertness?
I got a 55. Someone else got an 8.
That's critical. That's a critical. Anytime it's a matched success, it's a critical success.
Okay.
Every time it's a matched failure, it's a critical failure.
Okay.
Excellent. So good. Thank you for pointing that out. So you actually noticed that he's referring to a sort of goo. So she was covered in some sort of a weird film, and when you kind of like hold it up to the light or whatever, you play with it and try to see if you can get a better look at what it is exactly that the NSA was trying to black out. It's talking about some sort of film or fluid that, according to their report after they acquired samples of it, seemed to have a sort of consistency almost of amniotic fluid.
For some reason, the fact that it's amniotic fluid doesn't surprise her. And you would see her with a white gel pen carefully outlining the letters that are hidden by that, so they'll show up over the black. There's a couple of other things she catches that are useless, like she finds a word that's in somewhere else in a report, but very careful and meticulous. And then gets white gel ink all over her fingers because it takes forever to dry.
Yes. So you find out some very interesting information. With that being pointed out to the rest of you, do any of you have anything else to add? Any propositions?
It wouldn't be a bad idea if someone else did an unnatural roll to see if it rings any bells. I'm going to do one because I have a 50.
I could do that.
Oh, geez, yeah, higher than I thought.
That would be Tyler again. What's yours, Tyler? 70?
Don't ask.
I got a 63, so I got nothing.
I got a 1.
The unnatural skill,
Good
by
job.
the way, yeah, you nailed it. The unnatural skill is not one that actually goes up like other skills. That's the only exception to the rule when it comes to increasing skills. You have to increase in unnatural by studying it or by learning new things about the unnatural, what have you. Okay, so when you roll the critical success, so you've heard of abductions, actual alien abductions, where people have been taken and they have been dropped into these weird tanks, and you've heard filled with weird viscous fluids and stuff like that, and you've heard reports of sort of how do I word this? Artificial people
Excellent.
that have a outside normal human physiology makeup, as it were, for their DNA. You've seen of this sort of phenomena that has taken place, and it's been speculated in many cases that some people have been replaced, and immediately it kind of like makes you think of the last case that you were on, where people were being their brains were being colonized by these weird entities, and in this particular case it's like, well, maybe that's a possibility as well now, and maybe what Cordelia or whoever it was earlier that was saying, that there might be some sort of a weird connection here, maybe might be something to that.
I share this with the group.
So the goo, when he was saying amniotic fluid, was that like a vernix caseosa, which is the gooey stuff all over a newborn baby that develops in its last weeks of fetal development? Or was it more
That's what
like
they sort of
the
they
gooey
make that
stuff.
comparison. Yeah, they make
Yes.
that comparison. Mhm.
I'm impressed by this guy's ability to identify it, but I guess he's seen newborn animals given where he lives.
Yeah, probably.
So does that mean she's not actually her?
Excellent question.
Either
See,
that or maybe she hugged a person who wasn't her.
You see Cordelia and Cooper look at each other and it's like, I guess maybe we should ask her.
Well, she's
This
very
raises a
open
few
about her
eyebrows.
experience, so we
Yeah.
could just talk to her. I mean,
Try, certainly.
you could send me to talk to her and just flat out ask her and not tell her that I'm an agent.
They both like kind of simultaneously and politely object to that notion. It's like we should approach tactfully as much as possible. We don't want to tip ourselves. We don't want to give ourselves away here. We want to approach this with great precision.
We
And
don't
they
have
kind of
someone
like,
who can claim to be abducted too and ask her for information to match experiences?
I mean, if she belongs to I was an abducted by aliens club, sure. You see Cooper's like, but otherwise,
Well, wouldn't she be wall to wall with it if she admitted it?
not necessarily. According to the media reports, this was one interview that she gave that blew up and went viral.
Well,
This
yeah, but
could
then
just be
like,
her pulling some shenanigans just to try to score points, you know.
But yeah, like, I mean, the groups that believe that would probably say stuff about it, and they'd have opinions, and like they would have tried to contact her and things, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and
And they would have done a
she
lot of
already
research
has
about her themselves, so maybe they found something, or maybe they
Yeah,
didn't.
but most of the time these people don't have. There's like a football fields of distance between these candidates and the general public at large. Like they don't come anywhere near. They have their own social media people that filter all this nonsense out for the most part.
So
And
thanks
then
for
he
the
gives
raid
her
night
little-
prophecies.
Like, oh, face.
Yeah, she's like taking her time to kind of explain things to you, and you see Cooper's like, hey, do you mind like he's looking around. You had come in here with like the bucket and like the little dolly. It's like, can you put those back in the closet? They stink, man, like really bad.
Really? She looks at the mop. I thought it smelled kind of good. Okay.
It's like, it's more like
The
kelp
mop
in
gets
here or
put
what?
away, and she reserves the urge to go on it to get the mildew out.
Yeah, you step out and go puts the stuff away. Do Winnebago and White want to add to any of this, or do you have any specific ideas on how to approach this issue regarding Grimes?
Not really.
No, unless it ends up in violence.
Well, okay. Glad to know where you stand on that. You want me to hack her up? All right, I'm in. You step out into the main area of the office while the rest of the group is congregating in the meeting room, Anemone, and you hear a voice from the corner. Do you remember the ritual yet?
Are you a disembodied entity living inside my head after faking your own death?
You look over and you see Nancy, and she's just kind of leaning up against the wall, and she's got her arms crossed, and she's like, not exactly in those words, sweetheart, she says. You remember what I taught you?
I still think it's weird you found a creme brulee torch.
She's like,
but
we'll get to all the other important stuff in time. For the moment, though, I think there's something you need to know, or maybe something, you already know it, you just need to remember.
You didn't die in the facility in a way of getting inside my head so that I would carry you out when I escaped, but I blocked out the memory of how I did it because it's implausible they'd lose an asset of my quality.
You catch on fast, just like I knew you would, just like I remembered. You're right, sweetheart, I'm dead, but I still live inside of you. You didn't carry me out of there. Well, you did, but not in your arms. Inside your head. If you remembered the feast that I taught you.
What's gonna happen when I ascend?
Well,
so
baby steps. It's like for
there's
now,
like 8 or so years before I start manifesting, because Dr. Pendergast said this was the reproductive stage of my life. And at least for the other direction. But then, like when I'm 40 or so, I'm supposed to get my boy parts. She's completely like,
I don't think you're following me, sweetheart.
Are you gonna
I died
make
back
me
at that
eat Grimes's
facility
brain?
a long time ago. She's like, I died a long time ago in that facility. And the only reason I'm here now trying to get you to remember is because, well, I was dying and I needed to preserve the information that I had locked up inside of here. So I taught you a little trick. It's called the feast.
You mean
You've
ate
done
your
it
brain?
before many times. Yes, you did. Now everything
Are
I
you
know,
actually
you know.
like a prion entity?
Not sure I know what you mean, Annie, but either way, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Do you trust me?
Gee, yeah, of course.
Good, because we got a lot more work to do before this is over. And that's where we'll stop. All right, that's all the time we have for this session. I hope everyone here and those watching enjoyed the show. We'll continue our descent into conspiracy horror next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you enjoyed tonight's program, feel free to check out our other awesome adventures and terrifying tales. In the way of awesome adventures, Tuesday we have the Dystopia Rising Evolution Trouble on the Steel Pier one-shot. Wednesdays brings us the Rifts Rebellious one-shot for I Love Your Rebellion. Friday it's Scarred Lands, Dracogenesis Season 2. Saturday it's Mutant Year Zero, Road to Eden. And coming this Sunday is Fiasco, The Murderists. Check that out. For Terrifying Tales, Tuesdays we continue our Chronicles of Darkness, Mage the Awakening, Book 1, Defiance. Fridays is Black Void, Under Nebulous Skies. On Saturday it's Crash Panda's Drunken One-Shot Beta. And on Sundays, it's the V20 Anniversary Chronicle, Starlight and Smoke. In the Coming Soon category, prepare yourselves for Cult, Divinity Lost on Sundays, starting September 12th. And now for those of you who stayed after the credits have rolled, it's time to reintroduce our cast and vote for favorites. All players in this game can select another player as their favorite for that session for any reason. Recipients will receive a reward in the form of a reroll for their character. For viewers, voting is open as well. You too can choose a favorite each week for all of our shows, but you have to be quick because voting ends as soon as the closing reel finishes. So be sure to cast your votes in the Twitch chat as soon as you can. For every viewer vote, players receive an extra willpower point for their characters. Beginning with Sean. Let the good people know who you are and who your favorite was for this evening.
Hey, I'm at Space Lord PJs. I played Big Daddy the Winnebago, and I'm gonna vote for Weber.
Thank you.
Good choice. All right, excellent. And Devin.
Hi all, I'm Devin. You can find me online at Sort of Sullied, and tonight I am also picking Weber as my favorite for the evening. They basically took command.
It's going to be a
Do
clean
that.
sweep, I feel.
I do that.
Panda.
It's a real tough call because I really enjoyed the home scenes that Tyler and Winnebago both had, both in their different ways of their family life being destroyed. Again, it's hard to choose. I think in my case, like, Tyler's is always really good, just like his whole delivery is amazing. But there has to be an honorable mention to the sweet mundanity of losing the connection with your own child.
Nice. All right, excellent. And last but not least, Tyler.
I'm Tyler. Elderchuck goes online, and mine goes to Anemone also, because new best friends. Don't need any of you
Nice.
humans.
Awesome. Well, I've been Eric at Modern Recluse on Twitter. You can find me back here on Sundays for Starlight and Smoke, Vampire the Masquerade. And big thanks as always to our patrons for supporting what we do. If you want to be awesome and do the same, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/VorpalTales to keep up to date on what we're doing throughout the month by checking the website on VorpalTales.com. And thanks to you, our viewers and fans, for tuning in. As usual, maintain situational awareness, keep your intel compartmentalized, and always watch your backs. Good night, everyone.